Political light years ahead of the rest. It's the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. August 14th, 2026, transmission of the Owen Report, your home for political play-by-play. The fastest 3 hours on the internet starts now. For a Friday, we are very heavy with news, and a lot of it is centered around, I wasn't even intentionally planning this theme today, but a lot of it is centered around why you see today polls shifting, saying Democrats are going to win the Senate, why there seems to be this, major rift in the right wing, the split of the MAGA coalition, the approval ratings of Donald Trump. It all kind of points in that direction. And so you can look at the war in Iran. You can look at the just general foreign policy issues. You can look at some of the domestic issues like the economy that's not good. And so we kind of have it all lined up. But this trend now is, I have this clip from the Rogan show. And so we're kind of we're gonna start with the theme, and then we're gonna get into the details. And it's Joe Rogan and Shane Gillis and some others in studio there. And it's like, yeah, everybody kind of gets it now. It's like where it was kind of socially acceptable or even kind of cool, kind of like rebel soul type stuff, old school American rebel type stuff, supporting Donald Trump, standing with Donald Trump, going to defeat the Democrats, got to get the Democrats out of there. To now, 2 years later, it's like, whoa, I don't want nothing to do with MAGA. Don't associate me with Trump. I don't want anything to do with it. Don't take a picture of me at an event with these people. No. And there's still this disconnect in Washington, D.C. There's still this disconnect inside the Trump administration that they don't understand. The whole pop culture of it has shifted. The whole appearance of it, perception of it has completely shifted. And so we're going to look at all those details, but we're going to kind of start with this is what everybody's noticing. And then we'll look at the details as to why the approval ratings are down, why the Republicans are not looking good heading into the midterms when they should be kicking ass. They have every excuse and ability to be kicking ass heading into the midterms, and instead it's going the other way. So we're going to kind of combine all that together, and we knew that this story about military morale was going to eventually get big. Then we started getting some of these details where they're having issues on these ships that are having overextended stays out at sea, all in response to this Iran war. Most recently with the USS Lincoln, and now more details are coming out about that to such an extent that Trump now has to address questions from the press. And, he was either not prepared for it or he's just not giving enough consideration to this issue right now. And his response is very telling. And it's, chalk it up another one of those responses like, oh, we don't care about gas prices. We don't care about the midterms. You can kind of throw it into that heap where it's like, this is the real attitude. This is why people are turned off. This is why people don't want to go to bat for Trump. And there's other commentary we're going to look at too. It's like, remember all the Trump rallies? Remember all the Trump boat parades? You couldn't have a summer go by where there wasn't some massive Trump boat parade for like the last 8 years. They don't even exist anymore. Nobody's even fathoming these things. Trump stores that sell apparel, all shutting down. It's not there. The magic is gone. But the direction is not good either. So we do have some updates on the war. Now, we have some updates on the economy. Lawsuits have been filed against Trump for the premium access, the 100K club, where you can pay the Trump family $100,000 a month to get insider trading information. Are we calling it that? What are we calling it exactly? What exactly are you getting for $100,000 a month? Well, the first suit has been filed, so we will take a look at that. You're starting to see now, okay, we're across the primary line. Where are these candidates going to go on data centers? Where are these candidates going to go on AI? This issue is going to be a major issue for the midterms. We've been seeing this coming for quite some time now, and now they're having to put their foot down. And I saw a move, because first it was like, okay, if Wong Hong loses in the Wisconsin governor's race, which again, the whole thing's kind of crazy that nobody's talking about the steal there. It's kind of like we all looked at her. We looked at the socialism of it, and we just said, you know what, just go ahead and, Yeah, those 5 USB sticks that, didn't have voter data on them. We got the data right here. You know what I mean? We got the data right here. And we all kind of witnessed it. MSNBC kind of had a moment on air where they were like, they're just stealing it, aren't they? They're just freaking stealing it. So we all kind of watched it, but we're like, you know what? Maybe we'll let that one slide. Maybe we'll just go ahead and let that steal go. It's amazing how nobody's talking about it. But the guy that beat her now just put his foot in his mouth, and he's out there campaigning for AI data centers in Wisconsin. So first it was like, Hong is out. Kind of bad news for Republicans. Crowley is more center. But now Crowley's coming out pro-data center, pro-AI. The Republicans can, make a move on this. So this is going to shake up the midterms, believe me. I don't think it's going to be down party lines. I do anticipate the Republicans will be pressured to push AI data centers, and the Democrats will be pressured to run against AI data centers. But I don't think it's going to be a hard party line. I think each candidate is going to make up their own mind, maybe feel out what the locals, what the constituents think about the issues. But it's starting to be line in the sand time when it comes to the AI data centers. So we're going to take a look at that. And then what is going on with Jared Kushner? The whole Lakers deal is crazy. That deal is just wild with Kushner's brother. And then Greenland. So basically, Kushner is trying to build, they're trying to take over this island. Kushner, Jared and his wife. And the Albanians, they don't want it. They're trying to stop this whole thing from happening. And then you got Trump sending these oil teams out to Greenland, and they show up and they're trying to do this big operation. And Greenland's like, what are you doing here? You have no permission to be here. You have no permission to drill here. And there's like, well, Trump said us. Trump said we could. And they're like, so what? So Trump really thinks he's like king of the world here. He's just like, hey, yeah, just go drill oil in Greenland. They're like, no. Trump's like, yeah, just go over here and buy an island. Kushner, here, go take this island. We're going to secure this shipping route. And they're like, no. Like, yeah, you're going to do this. We're going to take Cuba too. We're going to take Venezuela. We're just going to do it all. Hey, what about America? The company, the country you're the president of, America. You heard of that one? No, never heard of her. Never heard of America here. Now, Trump was speaking today in New York City. He might still be going, actually. Yep. He's trying to boost police morale in New York City today. So that's nice. All right. So we got all of that and more. It's going to be a loaded news show today, especially for a Friday. Loaded news show. We're going to try to get through all of it today. Fastest 3 hours on the internet. Of course, we'll take your super chats. take your calls probably, hopefully on a Friday. No guests today, so I think we should have some time for calls. We're going to try to do it all on a Friday transmission. Glad to have everybody here with us today. Today's show is brought to you by Crash Out Energy. Guys, I was drinking energy drinks every day before the show. I needed that 200 milligrams of caffeine, that energy. I was drinking multiple different nootropics with it as well, so I could have maximum energy, maximum focus for a 3-hour show. But as we learn more about the ingredients of these energy drinks, you learn more about the toxic ingredients or the bad ingredients specifically, and you realize you don't want to be drinking this stuff every day. You just don't. But I still wanted to be getting the nootropics. I still wanted to be getting the 200 milligrams of caffeine. And so I said, why don't I create a drink mix that gives me 200 milligrams of energy plus the nootropics, take the bad ingredients out, put the good ingredients in, and that's what we got, Crash Out Energy. Secure yours today at crashout.energy.
On the cutting edge of news and analysis, the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
Well, everybody's talking about it today. It's all over the chat. I don't have the debate in the stack today. I wasn't really even planning on covering it. I assumed somebody would probably bring it up in the super chats and maybe I would go into it then. But I'm seeing it all over the chat today and it's actually kind of funny. I did check it out. I thought Andrew maybe won the early rounds. I feel like Candace maybe won the late rounds, but I don't really think there was a real clear winner or loser. It really just depends on what side you're on. All things considered, I think that it was, pretty good. Went pretty well. I don't like the format. I thought the format was a flop, sitting on the chairs next to each other like that. I thought that whole format kind of just like it almost stalled the whole thing. It just didn't give you debate vibes. But I don't really think there's a clear winner or loser. Like I said, I didn't really take too much interest in it before. I'm just waiting to see the trial. But no doubt got most of the attention today. No, actually, I was doing yard work today. I was listening while doing yard work. I found this spider in my backyard. I almost shit myself, guys. I mean, my drawers almost ended up like Trump's or Biden's. What is the name of the spider? It's one of the biggest spiders I've ever seen. Some garden spider in Texas here. What is this thing called? I'm telling you, this had to be the biggest one ever, too. I think it was the biggest one of all time. I got a picture of it. The Argiope trifasciata, or the yellow garden spider. Had a yellow garden spider in my backyard. I mean, this thing had to be like, they say here online, they're like, oh, it can grow up to like maybe 2 inches. Guys, this thing was like 4 inches. So I had the biggest garden spider in the history of the world in my backyard today. I'm going back there to do some yard work, and I see this thing. I had to change my drawers. It was so scary to me. So I was really dealing with that. Then I cleaned up Don. So I was kind of listening passively. I don't know. It just didn't seem very moving to me. The whole debate just didn't seem very moving to me. I was way more moved by this garden spider that I thought I was going to have to burn my entire house down. I thought that was it. I thought burn it all down, burn the backyard down. I thought me and Don were about to have to go on the lam for a while. But we took it out. We had to take the spider out. Apparently it's no harm. It actually might be good if you wanted to like eat bugs and stuff. But its web was literally like covering the whole backyard. I had to get rid of it, had to clear out some stuff for Don, and plus it was about to mate. They do this zigzag pattern in their web. I learned a lot about this thing today. You know, you have to respect a creature that nearly causes you to fill your britches. So I did a little research with that. We took care of it, though. We are still the superior species, guys. Do not worry. Man is still the superior species. The spider is now gone. All right, just starting it off a little light today because we're probably going to get pretty heavy pretty fast. All right. Bloomberg headline syndicated across all of the big internet networks. Trump's golden age economy pitch fizzles with midterm voters. Well, you don't say. The problem with saying it's a golden age, the problem with saying it's the greatest economy ever, it's as good as it's ever going to get, is that it actually has to be good. There actually has to be something there for the American people to believe in. There has to be an experience happening right now for people to believe it's the golden age, and it's just not there. It is simply not there. And I wonder, too, you have to be able to remove your own bias. You have to be able to remove your own politics to try to formulate the best possible conclusion. And so I'm like, how much of this is clouded by the disastrous foreign policy? How much of this is clouded by people feeling betrayed by Trump? Right? It's just, is it a bias because we're just feeling really disenfranchised right now? Is it a bias because we're feeling really betrayed right now? And maybe things aren't that bad out there. You know, maybe it's kind of this overwhelming feeling of betrayal that's causing this bias about the economy. And maybe it's not so bad. But, you know, you go check the numbers and it's just like, you cannot deny it. Whether it's the debt, whether it's energy costs, the cost of living, grocery bills, gas prices, delinquencies on credit card payments, mortgage payments, car payments. Every indicator right now is people are struggling financially. And then you start to look at, well, what are definitive characteristics of a healthy American economy? You have a strong middle class. Well, what is a strong middle class? A strong middle class is, I mean, I don't know if you want to put a number on it, but basically an American family, whatever, individual that can own a home, have a solid job, pay the bills, have a little for savings, have a little for a vacation for a week or two every year, make sure they got a car that's going to start. There's a repair they need on their home. They can afford it. You know, that's middle class. Hey, we're not going to be flying first class. You know, I'm not going to have a big fancy pool in my backyard, maybe not a fancy car, but my car is going to start. I'm going to own my home. I'm going to be able to afford the things that I need, not have to stress. And if I have a little left over for savings, save up for a vacation, whatever, that's the American middle class. And you want the vast majority of Americans, if they're in that class, then that's a healthy economy. But now we learn it's gone from 100,000 a year now up to 250,000 a year, where the majority of people now making 250,000 a year are living paycheck to paycheck. Essentially, they get the money in and the money is already going right back out for mortgage payments, cost of living, whatever. Hard to save anything, hard to expand your financial portfolio. People are probably cutting down on the different niceties and vacations. And so there is no indicator of a golden age, as far as I can tell. I don't see it. I don't see any economic data you can point to. I don't see any policy that you can point to. Let's say you don't think the golden age has anything to do with economics. Okay, well then what are we talking about? Are we talking about no new wars? Are we talking about peacetime? Are we talking about bringing the troops home? Is that what we're talking about? What is the golden age? Are we talking about a return to, Americana, classic, I don't know, cinema that's not woke, that's not garbage, that's not just rehearsed trash? What are we talking about? Is anybody talking about it like that? No? What about mass deportations? What about the American culture? What about our inner cities? What about our education system? I'm just, again, I try to remove my own bias and I just ask, where is your evidence of a golden age? Where is it? Outside of your mind, outside of political hype, where is it? And I guess we can kind of couch the statement and say, hey, you know what? I'd still rather live in America than anywhere else in the world. I'd still rather live here. I still think living in America is the best place maybe on earth to live. At least for me, that's where I want to live. I still enjoy America. I love Austin. Every once in a while I do things in Austin. I'm like, you know what? I really like this city. I really enjoy it here. But let's not pretend like this is the greatest it can possibly be. Let's not pretend like this is some golden age where everybody's feeling very comfortable right now about where they're at in the economy. And this is the pitch. This is the pitch that Republicans are offering ahead of the midterms, and it's falling flat because it just doesn't exist. But that's kind of the light side of it. Part of the new MAGA coalition with this mandate of Trump getting into the office in 2025, there was a pop culture to it. There was a bit of a celeb status to it. There was a, hey, you know what? All the people that tried to push us out, if we like Trump or his policies, all the people that tried to say you can't exist in these fields, you know, we kind of won that. We kind of had comedians and actors and actresses, some of Hollywood even, you know, Joe Rogan, some of the biggest personalities out there. It was like, okay, this is more than just a political thing now. It's a cultural thing. And now that has completely fallen off the table. And this is where the political world doesn't really follow much in culture. And, you know, you don't blame them. But you get a little bit of a taste here on Rogan. He has Shane Gillis, who was a Trump supporter. I mean, I wouldn't say he was like, you know, banging the drums for Trump every day, but he was definitely a Trump supporter. A lot of the guys that went on Rogan, you know, this is kind of just your average guy. This is what I hear. When I hear this 60-second clip with Rogan and Shane Gillis and a couple others here, I always forget that other comedian's name. He's so hilarious too. But this is, to me, like, this is the average conversation that I'm hearing. This is the average conversation that my friends are having if Trump or politics comes up like that. It's just, these are just guys sitting around talking shop, talking politics. And to me, you know, this is kind of the direction it always ends up going.
He was at the White House? Yeah, so was I. So was Shane. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the problem.
Let's stop bringing up that. We got pretty early.
We were there together. We
They asked me to go in the VIP room. I said, no way.
You didn't? I went in there.
Fuck no. I knew
was
those
hanging out.
photos were going to be taken.
What was in the
I'm not
champagne
fucking
room?
Me and Nate
taking pictures.
Bargatze were in there.
I know.
Chilling.
I know.
Look how that turned out.
It was
Yeah,
fine.
I stood outside in the rain. I was like, I'm not getting my picture taken.
I took zero heat for that event.
But you took a
You're
photo
already
with
on.
Trump a couple years back.
It was a funny photo.
That was a great photo.
It's what a
Bro, that
ridiculous
was when you were
shirt.
wearing the
That
Pablo
was-
Escobar
That
shirt.
was pre a lot of things.
That's true.
That's pre
The
a lot of
pre-world
things.
record.
No, not me personally. I mean,
Also,
pre him.
the Iran.
him.
I was back then when I was taking that picture. I was like, this guy's going to release the Epstein files. No more wars. I like
Right.
that.
Was it killing Americans?
Also, still didn't vote for him. Not a big deal.
The Epstein files and then the
Dude, I
Iran
saw
war.
you go after the vice president. It was pretty good.
Well, I had to question him.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I want to know, like, what he's saying.
I liked it because you
Now Vance is still out there doing media tours. We're gonna come with another Vance clip later on in the show. But you hear Shane Gillis, he's like, man, I'm embarrassed. I don't want to be associated with Trump. I'm embarrassed. I don't want to be associated with MAGA. And so all of the quote unquote cool people, let's just say for the sake of this conversation, all the cool people are abandoning ship. And that does trickle downstream. Now, I don't know how much this impacts a midterm election. This is the culture of it. Outside of the political support for Trump, nobody's buying this anymore. The big lies of the golden age are falling apart at the seams. And many people, and this is where, you know, we kind of talk about the boomers, and I'm saying this, I'm starting to see them turn the page here. To their credit, and I've been harsh on them at times, I'm starting to see them turn the page, because what I'm noticing is they took Trump at his word. They trusted Trump. They took Trump at his word. And when you're talking about the Iran war, it was all supposed to be over. And so now that we're still in this war, I think that now some of the boomers that maybe do look back at the Bush years and they supported George Bush and they voted Republican, and maybe they're like, you know what? We don't like how that whole thing went down. We don't like the results of the foreign policy in the Middle East. You know, maybe we do still have our issues with some of these Muslim nations or even Muslims in general. I don't know. Maybe we still have these issues, but the overall results of that foreign policy were not beneficial to the country. So they're hesitant, maybe not as hesitant as the younger generations, but they trusted Trump. And I don't think they really wanted to leap into the Middle East, but they didn't have the hesitancy that younger generations do. But now, after everything that's happened in over a year now of us being back in Iran, I'm starting to see the older generation conservatives that are just, we're different on foreign policy. I'm starting to see them even say, you know what, this is actually not going well. And we were told this would last like a month or two. And we were told that we'd have $2 gas by this summer. And we were told this was going to be a quick operation. And when it was all said and done, it was all going to benefit America. And they had all these different ways that they were making this case. And so the older generations kind of bought into that. They kind of believed that. They took Trump at his word. But now the time has gone on. It's gone on so long, it's become indefensible. And there's no denying now that Trump has been either wrong or dishonest about what's happening in Iran and the Middle East. And we do have some more of that today, including a shocking statement. Well, shocking because it's from Mike Huckabee. Not so shocking if you've been following the story. But we'll get back to that. But back to the magic being gone. Somebody brought this up. I think it was Trisha Hope. Remember when there were Trump car and boat parades almost every weekend? They are gone. Marjorie Taylor Greene responded, yes, I remember. I used to organize some of them. Here is one I organized on Lake Alatona back when MAGA was America First for regular Americans, not billionaires. No more foreign wars, lowering the cost of living and gas, and drain the swamp, and justice for the Epstein class. Now, maybe if you're not anywhere near a body of water, you didn't hear about these. These used to happen on Lake Travis quite frequently. There would be Trump truck parades every so often down here in Texas as well. But everybody remembers the Trump boat parades, the Trump truck parades. This stuff doesn't happen anymore. And you might say, oh, well, it's not, Trump's not on the ballot anymore. They were doing these Trump boat parades forever. They were doing these Trump boat parades every summer, whether Trump was on the ballot or not, whether he was in office or not. You just don't hear about it anymore. The magic is gone. The populist support is gone. The majority support is gone. And I think people are finally starting to realize that that's where it's at. They're finally starting to realize it. Now, I've got to wonder here. We're going to go to this Vance clip now, actually. I'm wondering what Trump's strategy with Vance here is. He's got to have some. Or he just told Vance, just go out there and do and say whatever you want. I don't care. My theory has been that Vance is Trump's greatest security blanket. And the more Vance talks, the more the people that are running the show are going to want to keep Trump in there. Because nobody's going to want Vance to be the president hearing what he says about foreign policy and some other issues. And so you can see the neocons, you can see the foreign lobbyists. They're all in for Rubio. They're all trying to attack Vance. So Vance is like Trump's greatest protection against assassination, probably. That's my theory. But I think J.D. Vance means what he says when he goes on these shows. And I do think he understands the issue better than anybody else. At least they're willing to vocalize right now from the administration. And he was on Fox News. With Will Cain. Will Cain, probably the best thing they have on that network right now, I would say. So he gets Vance on there. There were a lot of interesting things that were said, but this is the message from Vance where it's like, why aren't there other people in the Republican Party saying this similar thing?
And my warning to my fellow Republicans, Will, would be if we don't get this right, don't blame young people for being sympathetic to socialism. We've got to blame ourselves. And I think what is so unique and refreshing about Donald Trump's economic policies is that it's not the same old economic, ideas that you would have heard 30, 40 years ago. He's talking about rebuilding our industrial base, rebuilding the heartland, making our streets safer, making it possible for young people to afford to buy a home. This is how you stop socialism. You don't stop socialism by throwing slogans at people about the free market. As much as I love the free market, you stop socialism by making people's lives better. And that's what we're trying to do every single day.
So Vance it's like the only messaging you're getting from the Republican Party or the White House that's close to the reality on the economy, that's close to the reality on how people feel about foreign policy. It's J.D. Vance. He's the only one. Nobody else seems to be willing to do it or wants to do it or is even aware of it other than J.D. Vance. Now, I don't even want to talk about 2028. If Vance is doing this strategically, he's probably smart enough to know don't run in 2028. But I don't know. The only question is, can Vance's attitude, approach, or messaging on this get through to Trump? It already resonates with the people, but can it get through to Trump? Can it get through to the Republican Party if they really care about the midterms? Now, you could argue the midterms are already cooked. It doesn't matter. But that's the type of messaging you have to be having. Not telling people it's the golden age, not telling people we've won the war 100 times, not telling people all the other lies, all the other garbage. It's saying, hey, you know what? We do have these problems economically. And you know what? A lot of Americans are concerned about this foreign policy. And that's the reality of the situation. But to pretend like that's not the case is just offensive. And you turn so many people off. So many people would probably be willing to go vote for the Republicans if they just didn't feel like they were being lied to every day. You know, it's like if they came out here and sounded like Vance, it's like if they were still doing the unpopular stuff, but they were like, yeah, you know, we know it's not good. You know, we know it's not good. Make up whatever excuse you want. But it's like, yeah, we know. We know people are frustrated with the direction of the foreign policy. We know people are frustrated with the direction of the economy. But they just sit there. Trump pretends like it's not happening. Republicans pretend like it's not happening. And that becomes offensive. And now you look like liars. And people don't want to vote for that. They don't want to vote for people that offend them. They don't want to vote for people that lie to them. You know, maybe just try honesty. It's almost so hard for a politician. Can we do a psychological study on why it's so hard for a politician to be honest? Do we even need that, actually? I think maybe we know. The U.S. national debt is about to reach $40 trillion, and it's likely to hit $50 trillion soon. Yes, at this rate, Trump could leave office with the debt at nearly $50 trillion. That would be fun, wouldn't it? 50 trillion. Trump's already added most of the debt. Trump's already responsible for most of the money printing and most of the debt. Conservatives hate to address that. That one is tough for conservatives to address because Trump is obviously not a fiscal conservative. He's actually aligned with Elizabeth Warren when it comes to that. Elizabeth Warren actually endorses Trump's fiscal policy. And this is just a sign that consumers have less money to spend. U.S. retail sales weakest in over a year. Consumer sentiment plunges. U.S. retail sales gave their weakest showing in more than a year, and consumer sentiment plunged, data shows today, as households battered by fallout from President Trump's Iran war curbed spending and raised their expectations of inflation. So people are spending less money. Maybe that's good. We probably consume too much anyway. But in the golden age, would it matter? Now they're trying to massage the messaging on the Iran war. The U.S. says lower oil prices, not Iran's nuclear program, are now the top priority in the war. So I guess they figured out nobody buys the nuclear thing. I guess they figured out they've told enough lies about the nuclear thing, and people are pissed off about the gas. So they're saying, oh, we're here for cheaper gas. Well, that was never told to us. We were told we were going to get cheaper gas by staying out of wars. We were told we were going to get cheaper gas by making America energy independent and dominant and drill, baby, drill. You know, all those fun things. That's what we were told was going to bring the price of gas down. And now you've done the exact opposite. But I guess they figured, hey, guys, telling them this war is about a nuclear weapon that doesn't exist. It's the same propaganda we've run on every other Middle East operation. Maybe we should try to shift this one. People are pissed off about gas. Let's tell them this one is to bring the price of gas down. Yeah, but sir, don't you remember? They used to call it Bush's oil wars. Yeah, who cares? Still more popular than me. So Trump and the media are now being forced to address this issue. I knew it was eventually going to be mainstream. Now it is. And so get ready. I still think we're at the tip of the iceberg here. Concerns grow over conditions on Navy carrier. This is the New York Times now. The USS Abraham Lincoln has been deployed for nearly 9 months. Members of Congress are worried about the crew's well-being. And the family, and now they're trying to sneak messages out. U.S. sailors hit by long aircraft carrier deployment. Some sailors have reportedly tried throwing themselves into the sea. Basic supplies can run short, and sanitation is going awry. Life on America's giant Abraham Lincoln aircraft is increasingly difficult as the Iran war drags on. The ship, now in its 9th month of deployment, is expected to be replaced in the Middle East by another carrier, the George Washington, in a move sure to be welcomed by the Lincoln's crew and their loved ones. Well, imagine they get back and start talking. Concerns about the conditions on the Lincoln have prompted lawmakers to demand answers from Pentagon Chief Pete Hegseth, who insists the situation has been misrepresented. Even in peacetime conditions, the quarters are cramped, the workdays are long, the food is not great, and it's difficult to get fresh air, exercise, and even a decent night's sleep. Jonathan Schroden, chief research at the Center for Naval Analysis, said, well, here's the deal. They were told there would be no new wars. They were told the idea was we're not getting back into the Middle East, and now we're just sending American men and women out there like sitting ducks for nearly year-long stints at sea for purposes beyond most people's understanding, except we all believe it's for the foreign lobby. Families are starting to talk. Wife says Navy failed to inform her of sailor husband's suicide attempt for 4 days. The wife of the sailor aboard the USS Abraham Lincoln is speaking out after her husband reportedly jumped from the aircraft carrier earlier this month. The Navy did not contact her about the reported incident until 4 days later. I think that it was handled very poorly because they didn't inform me and they didn't want me to know, and they're just trying to cover this up. Now, she's going over these text messages that she was able to get to the media, but the communication is obviously lacking. But she did publish some of these or give some of these over to the media. The boat is finally getting to me. Wife of USS Abraham Lincoln sailor who jumped overboard shares texts. Husband expresses mental health concerns to leadership and the long deployment on the aircraft carrier in the Iran war. Well, Trump has finally had to respond to it today. The headlines well, probably wasn't the best response. Trump's callous response as U.S. sailors throw themselves overboard in Iran war as grim photos of food emerge. Yeah, the whole situation is not good. There's now they're sneaking photos off the ship. You know, you're not supposed to be seeing this, obviously. But now some of this stuff is getting out. Text messages are getting out. Communications are getting out. Photos of the food or the lack thereof are getting out. They've been overextended on this stay. So stuff is finally starting to get out. So Trump is asked by the media about the situation. And I would say his response could have been a lot better.
Members of U.S. service members are concerned about the conditions on board the USS Lincoln.
Well, no, that ship is moving. No, they're not. That ship is moving right now, or very shortly, and it's being replaced with another very similar ship.
Has the deployment's gone on too long?
No. Not nearly long enough. Thank you, everybody.
So first he brushes off any concerns, So now morale is just going to get worse as far as supporting him is concerned. Now, when if that message gets back to any of these ships or anybody deployed in the Middle East, that's not going to do well for Trump. They're not going to appreciate that. Now we're in such an extended war with Iran that was supposed to be over a year ago, by the way. It was supposed to be over. It was supposed to be a 12-day war. It was supposed to be over. Now we're in this deal over a year and a half. And Trump says, well, we're going to bring in a new ship then. So now we're going to send out a new giant carrier ship there, and that'll be out there for 8-9 months too. So what are we talking about here? Another 8 months, another 9 months in Iran? Is that what Trump just indicated? And then he closes it off by saying they haven't been deployed long enough. What is that? That's basically telling the men and women in the armed services, the military, to shut up. We're going to keep you out there longer.
No. Not nearly long enough.
That's like, oh, I'm going to punish you. I'm going to punish these men and women in the military for dare speaking out. You're going to stay over there longer. I'm going to extend this war with Iran now. Oh, you want to complain that I lied about no new wars? You want to complain about being deployed to the Middle East again? How about we just keep you over there? How do you like that? That's how this comes off to me. That'd be my reception if I was on one of these ships and I heard that. Oh, this is punishment because I dare say anything. This is punishment because I'm not happy I got lied to. This is punishment because we're back in the Middle East for Israel. Oh, okay. You're going to stay longer. How about that? You want to complain? You want to complain you don't get enough food? You want to complain you've been here for over 9 months? You want to complain that I lied about no new wars, huh? How about this? You're staying there longer. How do you like that? Stay there 8 more months then. You got a bad attitude. You think you got no food now? How about less? How about you get no food? What do you think about that? How about you get no food? How about you sit out there and starve like sitting ducks so Iran can strike you and we can start a bigger war for my donors in Israel? Why don't you shut up, you stupid people? Shut up. That's how that comes off to me. That's how I'd be receiving that if I was on one of these ships. But okay, all jokes aside. So what does that mean? So that means what? We're guaranteed another 8 months over there? What does that mean? We're bringing in a new ship because we're staying, guys. This thing ain't nowhere near over. Oh, Trump, I mean, he kind of just let the cat out of the bag. This is a long-term war. They're bringing in another ship. They're going to get ready for another 8 months at sea. And he tells the U.S. men and women, get ready. Get ready. You ain't coming home anytime soon. You ain't coming home anytime soon. Mr. President, when can the American men and women of the military come home? I don't know. Let me ask Bibi. Let me call Mary and Adelson. Let me ask them. They run the show. Hey guys, can we bring the troops home yet? We got a big problem here. We're running out of missiles, running out of food. The troops are starting to get a little anxious, thinking about throwing me overboard, tossing me onto the island of Calypso over here. Can we get them out of there, Bibi? Can we get them out? No, Donald. We will keep them there until Iran blows them all up, and then we can finally get our world war. Come on, Bibi, gotta bring them home. Trump, don't make me release the files. You got it, Bibi. How long you want them there? However long you want. Marion, can you get Bibi off my case? Mariam, can you please get Bibi off my case? Can you change his mind on this war? It's killing me, Mariam. It's killing me. No, Donald, this is what we paid for. You took the money, Donald. Don't make Iran threaten to assassinate you again, Donald. Now, last month or a couple months ago, this was last month, Iran has shot down 30 U.S. Reaper drones. Now, when this broke, originally, they were kind of trying to deny it. They said, they're not hitting any drones. They can't hit our technology. Then it got confirmed. And these are, expensive drones. People might make the argument they're out of date. But regardless, they tried to deny that this was happening. Then it got confirmed. That was last month. Well, now there's more reports of these drones being shot down. 46 is the number that's being reported now. And, you know, Trump just told us Iran has no missiles. They have no air force. They have virtually zero military capabilities. And yet they're taking down these drones almost every day. And it looks like they're getting ready to make some move in Cuba. I'm still not really sure the Cuba angle. I mean, you can go with it's like, you know, what is the best odds, whatever, for Israel? I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying if there's a chart out or it's like a pie chart and there's just percentages on the board, just knowing the administration and who Trump's worked for whatever we're doing in Cuba is probably for Israel. I mean, it's just everything we do is for Israel. So probably somehow, some way, this whole Cuba thing is for Israel. But who really knows? I'm not sure anybody fully understands what it is exactly we're trying to do in Cuba. Oh boy. I'll tell you what, I'll address the camera thing in a minute. Let me just get through this. Let me just get through this hour, guys. So Hegseth is now talking about, Cuba's been our enemy forever. We've got to go after Cuba.
I'd like to see more cooperation from Cuba, whether they want to or not. Ultimately, you know, they've been threatening the United States for a very long time, allowing foreign nations, malign actors to spy on America from there. Are they acquiring weapons that could reach the United States of America? That's concerning. So the ACCC is free countries willing to collaborate together to take on cartels. It's growing. It's got real momentum. You're going to see some things in the coming weeks that are really important. But countries like Cuba are on notice. We're not going to tolerate that kind of malign influence in our hemisphere. Call it the Monroe Doctrine or the Trump corollary of the Monroe Doctrine. It's a real thing. I'd like to see more cooperation.
So, okay, now Cuba, you know, now we got to go into Cuba too. It's just like, what are we doing here, man? What are we doing here? Well, now China, for whatever reason, has decided they're going to try to help Cuba. Nobody's really talking about the situation in Cuba. They've basically been having almost permanent blackouts for months now. They get a couple of hours of electricity every day. They can barely get any energy in. China is basically keeping Cuba on life support. They've tried to work up a new plan here to help them. Cuba receives another 5,000 solar systems from China, expands renewable energy incentives. So China's in there trying to get some solar power to Cuba because they've been shut off from everything else by the United States. The Trump administration literally just starving people out in Cuba. I mean, it's just unbelievable how wickedly evil these guys are now. And as I said, you might be able to get away with this stuff. And this is very cold-hearted politics, but let's just tell the truth. The Trump administration might be able to get away with this cold-hearted foreign policy. The Trump administration might be able to get away with all the pain and suffering they've caused all over the world while he's pretending like he's the peace president, while he's pretending he's the most peaceful, you know, he's causing all the peace to break out all over the world. Meanwhile, he's causing nothing but pain and suffering in the regions of the world he's touching. You might be able to get away with this if you're actually benefiting the country. It's like if all of this stuff you're doing, if all the pain and suffering around the world that you're inflicting is actually benefiting the country and Americans, you know, pockets are stuffed with cash and all the good things we want are happening, the deportations, the lower gas prices, the lower cost of living, interest rates down, like all these good things. If all of these good things were happening, you could probably get away with all the pain and suffering you're causing with your foreign policy. But you can't get away with it when people are pissed off about the lack of results domestically, because then they start wondering, where is the attention going? How come I'm not getting what I voted for? Why isn't America benefiting from this administration? What is going on? And then they look into it and they see what it is. Okay, the foreign policy is not benefiting us. Why is that? So we can't get the domestic agenda done because we're focused on foreign policy. Who is the foreign policy working in behalf of? Okay, that's a foreign interest. That's a foreign country. Okay, now we're pissed. Now we're pissed. So you can't get away with that when you're not even addressing the domestic issues that everybody has. Now everybody's watching what you're doing with the foreign policy and they're disgusted by it. They're watching what you're doing with, I don't know what else it could be described as except insider trading. Profoundly corrupt. Trump sued in federal court over selling access early access to Truth Social posts. Trump's sale of fast access to Trump posts draws legal concerns. A lawsuit filed this week alleges that the product is unconstitutional, and other experts warn it could violate securities laws. I mean, the boldness, honestly, of Trump to do this is almost admirable. I mean, that's mafia boss level boldness. That's like, I'm the mafia boss here. I can get away with whatever the hell I want, and nobody's going to touch me. What are you going to do? Trump sued over Truth Social advanced access sale in the federal court. The lawsuit says the scheme is extraordinary, corrupt, and unconstitutional, and plaintiffs bring this case to stop it. Trump's social media parent company, Trump Media, announced in July that it would be offering subscribers to Truth API who paid $100,000 each month early access to market-moving posts from Trump and other people who use the platform. The suit was filed by the Intercept Media, a news organization, and by the Freedom of the Press Foundation, a nonprofit group. So now that's going to the federal court. Do you think that one goes well for Trump? Somehow I doubt it. But you know what? Even if it does, it doesn't. Because even if the courts say, okay, he can do this, and there are other services like that out there. I don't know if anybody's asking for $100,000 a month. I think that's like well above any other similar service out there. So it's just going to draw more attention to it, and people are just going to be like, wait, Trump's doing what? Trump's selling insider trading information? Is that what he's doing? And it's just going to make him look worse. And then he's begging for the ballroom. Trump administration asks Supreme Court to greenlight White House ballroom. The planned 900,000 square foot ballroom is estimated to cost $400 million and is part of the president's broader effort to remake Washington in his own style. I'm gonna make a bet here, guys. Now, this thing, I don't know what they're gonna do. I really don't know what they're gonna do. And you can see this updated image. They're redoing the helipad here. So Trump has blown millions of dollars on this helipad that they've had to do twice now because he didn't like the look of the first one. So they destroyed it. Now they're building a new one. And then you got, of course, all the construction over here. And this is where the ballroom's supposed to go. It's just an ugly hole in the ground. So they broke ground and they started doing something. And then I don't know if there's still construction every day or what, but now they can't finish the ballroom. And he said it was going to be $200 million. And he said it was going to be fully privately funded with $200 million. Then the price went up to $400 million. I'm gonna make a bet. If the project is ever done, it'll be over $500 million. So Trump will have lied about that too. This project will be over $500 million. It will cost the U.S. taxpayer dollars. If it can even get done. At this point, who knows? So this is going to be at the Supreme Court as well. And Trump is just, I don't know what, at this point, it's like, can they even get it done before he leaves the administration? What is his motive here now? Maybe so he doesn't look like an ass because he started construction on a project that they can't even do. And he doesn't want to be embarrassed, like the same deal with the reflecting pool. Because at this rate, it doesn't even look like he'll be able to use the ballroom. Which, you know, it was all about him in the end. Everything is all about him. He wanted to go out there in the ballroom and do the grand opening and, you know, cut the tape and, you know, make it all about him. Probably call it the Trump ballroom. Mm-hmm. All right, I want to get into some AI stuff heading into the midterms. Some AI, some data center stuff. Yeah, guys, we lost a camera today. I don't even want to talk about it. I really don't even want to talk about it. You know, the AC went out earlier this week. They fixed it. It's out again. So it's, you know, it's 100 degrees in Texas. My house has no AC. And so the cameras just, they shut off. They overheat. They shut off. So we've lost one. I don't know. We'll go as long as we can. It's a very obnoxious situation, I have to tell you. And they say they can't get back till Tuesday. So anyway, this is the situation. That's why the camera just died. I don't want to make a big deal of it, but that's why the camera went out. So I don't know if this camera goes out. That's why. Just show you know. But we'll take a break. and we'll come back and talk about some midterm stuff. We'll talk about some data center AI stuff and how you're starting to see the different candidates in the different states, different districts say, well, I'm going to be pro data center. I'm going to be anti data center. The Republicans mostly are supporting it. The Democrats are mostly against it, but it's not a straight party issue. Some people are diverting, and I think it could end up, in some cases, helping the Republicans, including a case that we see today. So we will do that on the other side.
You're listening to the Owen Report on the Win Network.
Folks, if you're thinking about getting into precious metals, you need to reach out to my friends at Allegiance Gold. Now, a lot of people are thinking about gold. They're thinking about silver right now for obvious reasons. A lot of questions with the economy, the banks, the status of the U.S. dollar, crypto, all of these different things. So people are thinking, gold, silver, is it time? But you want to know for sure the decisions you're making. You want to know with confidence and understanding that you're making the right decision. And Allegiance agrees. That's why you give them a call. 844-790-9191. 844-790-9191. They want to make sure that you are well understood and confident in the decisions that you're making. And when you're making those decisions, you want to make sure you're making them with somebody that has an A-plus review with the Better Business Bureau. Allegiance Gold does. Now, when you've got them on the phone, ask them about $5,000 in free gold and silver with qualified investments. You heard that right. $5,000 in free gold and silver with qualified investments. Whether through your 401k, IRA, or savings account, they make it simple to move into something real before the next reset, which we all fear could be right around the corner. And it's nice to just have that on hand, sitting in a safe, whatever. You don't have to worry about it sitting in a bank. It's right there in your home in case things go wrong. So give them a call, 844-790-9191, or go to protectwithowen.com. That's protectwithowen.com. Protect your wealth because no one else will.
It's the fastest 3 hours on the internet. It's the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
All right, guys, second hour here of the Owen Report today. And, well, we're having fun. We're having fun. Try not to overheat here today. The unexpected issue dividing parties and midterm candidates. The Washington Post has figured it out, guys. They've figured it out. A Washington Post analysis shows candidates are responding to voter concerns about the impact of AI on the economy, job prospects, and corporate power. Yeah, you don't say. You don't say. Now, David Crowley, this is the guy who beat Francesca Wong, Hong Wong, as we like to call her here. And I think it was a little stolen. But we're okay. We're okay stealing elections from socialists, I guess. But now he's coming out as pro data center in one of his first opportunities to speak publicly after beating Francesca Wong Hong. He says he is pro data center. He wants Wisconsin to become a data center for the entire globe. So, okay, great news for Republicans. First, you're thinking the fact that Wong loses is actually bad for you because, you know, can a socialist really win a governor's race? But so she loses and Crowley gets in, you're like, oh, okay, well, that kind of hurts the Republicans. Now, if he comes out as pro data center, that could help the Republicans. Will Tom Tiffany come out against data centers? I guess that becomes the questions. Texas is getting crushed by these data centers, but it seems like there's nothing we can do about it. Rural Texas conservatives love free markets, but not when it comes to data centers. A preference for small government has faded as Republican voters press leaders to block the massive projects. Well, these things represent big government, so that's not really an accurate representation. Actually, the surveillance state, the flock cameras, the atom cameras, the AI surveillance state actually represents big government. So I know it's kind of a paradox. You want the government to stop the supposedly free market installation of these spy devices everywhere. But that's kind of an illusion. No, it is the government. It is Big Brother. That's who's doing it. But, you know, let's say that there's a fair debate. Let's say there's a fair debate when it comes to the flock cameras, when it comes to even the data centers. But people don't want it. The majority of people don't want it. It is a losing issue politically. And they continue to have this stuff shoved down their throats. And there will be single issue voters on this, I guarantee it. And I just don't want to see, well, I don't know. Count me out of it. I'm just doing neutral political coverage. If the Republicans, if you really care about the midterms and you're a Republican and you're not warning them against this right now, then you're only hurting your own cause. You're desperate. The Republicans are desperate for anything, any winning issue for the midterms. Don't go pro AI data centers if you want to win. I wouldn't do that. By the way, look at some of these numbers. On January 1st, 2024, there were 440 flock cameras in the United States. 1 year later, that number was up 10 times to 4,500. In January of this year, it had increased another 12 times to 54,000. And now, in August, it's up to 129,000 flock cameras. And Flock isn't the only company that is doing this. The other, is it Atom or Axom? I forget the name of it. And there's a connection to Trump with that one. That one might actually be worse, actually, than the Flock cameras. Flock is getting all the attention, which could almost be a psyop. But regardless of that, just look at these numbers. We are going into an AI surveillance state, guys. It is insane. It's being built right in front of you. And let's say I'll accept there's a fair debate. Let's say there's a fair debate about data centers. There's a fair debate about the security cameras. I'll accept that. But here's what I can't accept. If your instinct as an American isn't to reject this, then I question your true American nature. If your instinct as an American isn't to be suspicious about this or call this out as big government spy tech, then I question you as an American. Now, again, you want to have a debate, you want to look at the pros and cons, fine. But there should be an instinctual, visceral reaction to the idea of a surveillance state. And as an American, that should appall you at first sight. As an American, at first sight of this massive AI surveillance state that they're building, your first instinctual reaction should be no, God, no. And then somebody should be forced to make a compelling case as to why we need this stuff. And it hasn't been made. They're building it anyway. And I can't believe you have so-called conservatives that are sitting here saying, we need this. This is great. It's everything conservatism is against. It's everything small government. It's like, this is everything. This is 1984. They'll sit here and they'll say, look at this 1984 stuff from the Democrats, and then they'll engage in their own 1984 stuff. Like, we've won the war 50 times. We've been at war for 50 years. We were never at war. We were always at war. AI surveillance state is actually small government. AI surveillance state is good for you. Now, I wonder if this issue, I don't know if I agree with Rogan on the issue of THC. He might be onto something here. Joe Rogan warns Texas Republicans that cracking down on hemp-derived THC could turn the state blue, said the kids will turn on you. Well, I do agree that the youth that maybe Trump won over for Republicans could turn on this issue. I don't know if it's enough to move the needle in the direction of the Democrats as far as the results are concerned. But I don't know. He might be onto something with this. It's gotten a lot of attention here. And people just don't like the heavy-handed approach that Texas is taking to THC now, where there are cases where you can get more time. You'll get a stricter punishment in certain cases with THC violations than you will for molesting a child. So it's all out of whack here in Texas. I don't know if it turns the state blue. You know, Tallarico is like so pathetic. Oh my gosh, guys, you know what's so weird? You know, Texas has quite a reputation, right? I mean, Texas has quite a reputation. And yet we have some of the most garbage, trash politicians. We get some of the worst Republican representation you could ever see here in Texas. I'm looking at it again. You know, everybody comes out. There's a whole thing. It's like, whatever. I can't even deal with it. But, you know, Schroyer's voting Democrat. It's been trending now since Patriot Clips put that clip out on X. It's nonstop now. Schroyer's voting Democrats. They're covering it everywhere. And I'm just like, well, I never said that, but whatever. Have a heyday with it. I don't care. But I'm actually looking at what I'm going to be voting on in Texas. Let's say I decide to go vote. I do anticipate I'll vote. I think I'll be voting for Paxton. At the bare minimum, I'll be voting for Paxton. And it's just like, do I really have to go vote for Greg Abbott again? Like, oh my God. Oh my God. Seriously? Greg freaking Abbott? There's no other real candidate of any consequence for me in Austin. It's all going to go blue anyway. So you vote for the Republican Senate candidate, and you vote for the Republican governor candidate. You think, okay, maybe I'll have some impact there. Abbott is still ahead in the polls, but most people, maybe you're not in Texas, you don't care. It's just like, it's so frustrating. Texas is supposed to be like, big red state, red politics, conservative politics. And it's just like the Republicans keep offering us Greg Abbott. It's just like, what are we doing, guys? Greg Abbott again? We can't do better than this? I don't know if it goes blue, but it's like we're barely even fighting to keep it red. Interesting polls in Michigan here. And I think really what this represents is that white people are the least tribal people, at least in American politics. They are the least tribal people. And there's probably multiple reasons for that. Some organic, and then others definitely propaganda. But you can see here in this Michigan poll, Abdul El Sayed is only winning because of non-white men and women. But even when it comes to white voters or white men voters, Mike Rogers, the Republican, is not really edging out Abdul El Sayed as much as he is, not even close as he is, when it comes to non-white voters and when it comes to female voters, especially college liberal females. And I look at this data and I wonder if the Democrats aren't doing this intentionally. If they're not, Of course they are, but it's like how much is it? Do they have the candidate and they say let's run you for the female vote, or do they pick the candidate based off trying to get the female vote? Because they got that thing locked down. I mean, the Democrats got the female vote locked down. And you'll see Republicans come out and they'll do the whole game about, well, he's a Muslim. He's going to put you in a hijab. He wants to, grape you and all the other stuff. Well, it doesn't really work. That's their attempt. But you see what Abdul El Said is doing. You can see it. Everybody can see it. You can see why women would go vote for him. In fact, you know what's weird? What is Mike Rogers even doing? I don't even hear his campaign link isn't even making a blip. Maybe it doesn't matter because I'm not in Michigan, but it's like El Said's campaign seems to be making a lot of waves here. You don't hear anything from Rogers. Well. What do we have here? What do we have here? Jewish scholar elected to lead Catholic Biblical Association. The Catholic Biblical Association emphasized that Jewish professor Amy Jill Levine standing with Rome is best recognized by the fact that she had 3 audiences with Pope Francis. Oh, she's a big Pope Francis supporter, is she? Now, why? Why would this Jewish lady want to be in charge of the Catholic Biblical Association? Would you like to take a guess? Let me tell you anyway. A Jewish New Testament scholar newly elected as president of the Catholic Biblical Association stated that one of her major aims is to confront supposedly anti-Jewish interpretations of Christian scripture. Oh, that's right. Oh, I see. The Jewish woman is going to tell Christians about their faith. The Jewish woman is going to dictate her interpretation of Christian scripture to Christians. Oh, I see. Yes. So we know what this is. This is a Jewish woman taking over the Christian Biblical Association and telling you it's all anti-Semitic. And actually, as a Christian, you're supposed to worship Jews. That's your job as a Christian, is to worship Jews. So that's how she's going to tell you to interpret that. Now, it's kind of like the Catholic Immigration Law Center. Have you heard of the Catholic Immigration Law Center? And it's run by all Jews. And they share this thing whenever there's this open border debate about all the NGOs. And they say, look at this. Look at these Catholic NGOs. My goodness. These Catholic NGOs that are running the open border operation. And then you go look at who runs the Catholic NGOs, and it's all Jewish people. And now it's the same thing with the Catholic Biblical Association, and it's Jewish people. Can you imagine any situation where Catholics are running anything Jewish? Show me any situation where a Catholic runs any sort of Jewish organization at all. Yeah. No, I don't think you'll find one. And I don't think you'll find one in any Muslim associations either. I don't think any Islam associations or organizations are having Catholics run it. It seems to be Christian and Catholic organizations that are getting run by Jewish people. What's up with that? That's weird. Are they righteous Gentiles? Guys, this is an unbelievable clip from Mark Levin. I mean, I wouldn't even say I'm shocked that he said it, but yet it's a pretty amazing reveal here from Mark Levin. He's talking to Jim Jordan. Listen to what he says. Jim Jordan is a righteous Gentile, but listen to how he phrases this.
Now, you're very, and I'm going to call you a righteous Gentile. And what that means when a Jew says that is you're a non-Jew who is supportive of Judaism, and I might add Christianity, the Judeo-Christian belief system, but you have the courage to speak out and defend Jews. They're a tiny, tiny, tiny fraction of a 1% of the world population.
Yeah, the 1% of the world population run 99% of the world's operations. So listen to what Levin just says here. And you know what? Let's just say this. Let's just say this. Obviously, Mark Levin does not represent all Jews. And if I was a Jewish person, I would be making sure that the whole world knows that Mark Levin does not represent all Jews, because Mark Levin is a rat fink. Mark Levin is a fraud. And he is clearly, by indication of this statement, a racial supremacist. Mark Levin is a Jewish supremacist. And he just exposes himself right here. So the word Gentile means non-Jew. Interpret that how you want. Is it offensive or not? But he says Jim Jordan is a righteous Gentile. Well, by this understanding, then, Gentile is inherently not righteous. A Gentile is inherently lesser. This is what Mark Levin is saying. But you, Jim Jordan, you're a righteous Gentile. You know what I'm saying? You're a righteous Gentile. It's like a Gentile is normally lower than a Jew. A Gentile normally is lower than us and less than us and not righteous and inherently bad because you're not Jewish. But you, Jim, because you stand up for Jews, and you, Jim, because you fight for Israel, you're what we call a righteous Gentile. Wow. Mark Levin, racial supremacist Mark Levin, just putting it all out right there on the air. So he's admitting Gentile is an insult. That means you're lesser than a Jew. But then he says the only time we consider a Gentile worthy is when they worship Jews and when they serve Jews, like a slave. I mean, should I really say it? It's like, Jim Jordan, normally we'd call you a Negro. But because you serve us well, you're a house Negro. Isn't it nice to be a house Negro, Jim? Isn't it nice to be a righteous Gentile? Yeah, those Negroes over there, those Gentiles over there, they're lesser than us. They serve us. We're superior to them. We are the superior race. They serve us. But you are a righteous Gentile. You are a house Negro. That's Mark Levin's attitude. That is just unreal. He puts it out on air. Now, Levin gets into it with Tucker Carlson and claims after this attack from Tucker Carlson, because Tucker Carlson is talking about how Levin and the neocons want to put boots on the ground in Iran. And of course, Levin goes on his thing and he says, he's never said that. He's never said that. So the Tucker Carlson network finds out, obviously, he's lying because Mark Levin is a liar. Mark Levin is a rat fink liar. And so here's Mark Levin, funny enough. He goes on the show with, I forget this guy's name right now. I can't believe I forgot the guy's name. Anyway, it's two American Jews. And by the way, I looked into this. As far as I can tell, neither one of them are Israeli. Sid Rosenberg is this guy's name. Hosts a radio show. Sid Rosenberg and Mark Levin, as far as I can tell, are not Israeli citizens. I could be wrong. I don't know. I was looking this up before the show. I was like, is Mark Levin an Israeli citizen? Is Sid Rosenberg an Israeli citizen? I couldn't find that. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. But as far as the information, I could not find out. And it looks like they're just American citizens. And so this is such a reveal to me. So, okay, we see Mark Levin admitting he's a racial supremacist and he views you as a lesser Gentile, unless you're a righteous Gentile. But he lies about what he said about boots on the ground in Iran. So the Tucker Carlson network proves he lies about it. But listen to what Rosenberg and Levin say in this clip where Levin gets caught lying.
And we need some boots on the ground. If it means a victory, you got to do it. And when I say that for some reason, Mark Levin, I become a bad person.
Well, you're not. And if you're going to announce in advance that we're never going to use them, the enemy will attack us. They have a lot of boots on the ground. It's just so absurd. And these isolationists, most of them are very ignorant. You don't send in troops just to send in troops. And these people who keep saying no boots on the ground, no boots on the ground, they're the ones who are going to get us into World War III. They're the ones who are going to wait until geographically, militarily, and psychologically, we're not prepared to defend ourselves.
Now, first of all, before we address this we thing, this is the most Orwellian speak you've ever seen. By not starting a war, you're going to start World War III. By not starting World War III, you're going to start World War III. That's what Mark Levin says here. Honestly, guys, this Mark Levin guy, can you believe what an absolute scumbag, traitorous piece of shit he is? This guy is a monster. Mark Levin is a monster. I want Mark Levin deported, but apparently he's an American citizen. If Mark Levin was an Israeli citizen, I would denaturalize and deport immediately. As far as I can tell, he's not. I would look into it, though. I would look into it. If I found out Mark Levin is indeed a dual citizen and Mark Levin is a citizen of Israel, I would denaturalize and I would deport, and I would immediately consider him an enemy of the state and a foreign agent. Because this man is a monster. He is a racial supremacist. He is a liar. He has foreign interest over American interest. And so he says him and Sid Rosenberg both. Notice this. They both present this as, oh, this is America. They're speaking from an Israeli perspective, guys. That's who they're talking about here.
And we need some boots on the ground.
Who's we? Who is we? Notice, they don't call for Israeli boots on the ground. They don't call for the IDF to do a land invasion. No, they want American men and women. Here it is again. Who is we? They are speaking on behalf of Israel's interest. They are speaking on behalf of what benefits Israel, a foreign policy run by the Israeli lobby, and they sit up there and they say, we need boots on the ground. We. Who is the we? Because it's not the American people. Who is the we? This is the truth coming out. They're talking from the Israeli perspective. We, the Israelis, need American men and women, boots on the ground in Iran to win this war for us, the Israelis. That's the interpretation of this. And notice, this is why any true MAGA, whether it's 2016 or even through 2024, any true MAGA is against this intervention in the Middle East. Any true MAGA, including Trump himself, all at some point in time stood against more intervention, more war, and more bloodshed in the Middle East. Now who's happy? Now all the neocons are happy. Now all the foreign loyalists are happy. Now all the never-Trumpers like Ben Shapiro and Mark Levin, now all they're happy. And the original American patriot class of voters that believed no new wars in the Middle East, that have stood against the disastrous foreign policy in the Middle East run by the foreign lobby for years now, all of that, the majority of Americans, they've all been betrayed. And now it's goblins like Mark Levin running around here saying, we need boots on the ground, we. But when he says we, he means Israel, and he wants American men and women to go die for Israel. And I'm so sick of this man. I am so disgusted by what they have done to our country and lied, the wars they have lied us into. I know I'm not the only one. Most people feel this way. And that's why it's actually totally despicable that Mark Levin would get up there and pretend like he represents the voice of all Jews, and that's what he wants it to be depicted as. So that way he can call you an anti-Semite if you disagree. And then when some innocent Jewish person has to put up with the real hate out there, when some innocent individual Jewish person has to put up with the righteous indignation about these Israeli loyalists and these foreign agents in our media pushing for more men and women of American heritage to die in the Middle East, looking to spill more American blood and treasure in the Middle East, these monsters like Mark Levin that claim, oh, we represent all Jews. If you don't support this, you're anti-Semitic. And then some innocent Jewish person is going to have to endure the hate because of monsters like Mark Levin who hide behind their walls, who hide behind their money and their security teams. And then some innocent Jewish person is going to have to deal with it now. They should be the ones addressing the Mark Levins of the world more than anybody else. The Mark Levins of the world are doing more damage to innocent individual Jewish people around the planet than anybody else on earth. And they're doing it intentionally. These are monsters. And then this doesn't help either. Israeli settlers divert Palestinian water to fill West Bank pool. So the water source that the Palestinians were basically living off of, their water source that provides them water to live, The Israelis said, actually, we're going to divert that so we can swim. And by the way, this is in the West Bank that Trump said he had zero tolerance for Israel going into. This is in the West Bank where Trump said he would not let Israel go in and occupy the West Bank. Now they're diverting Palestinian drinking water so that they can swim in a pool. Now here's how bad it's getting. Jewish settlers besiege Palestinians in occupied West Bank village. U.S. condemns horrific act of terror. That's how bad this is getting, guys. Even Huckabee is forced to make public statements calling out Israeli terrorism. That's how bad this has gotten. U.S. Ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, the group besieging the village, including the home of an American Palestinian family, are Israeli terrorists. Now, remember, Israel is actually holding captive. I mean, we're assuming the girl is alive. I forget her name. It's like Safi something. I forget the young girl's name. She's about a 22-year-old girl, an American, a Palestinian American that Israel has been holding captive. Nobody knows her current status. Nobody talks about her. Folks, the Israelis are getting so out of control with their bloodlust. The Israelis are getting so out of control with their pillaging and their destruction. Even Mike Huckabee is being forced to say, quote, Israeli terrorists. That's how bad this is. If Mike Huckabee has to say the word Israeli terrorists, you know things are getting bad. Now, I saw the statement, and here's his public statement on social media, and I'm thinking, well, what is behind this? Mike Huckabee would never say anything like this. They would never say anything like this. They have never admitted Israel has done anything wrong ever. This is like the first time they will ever admit or even hint at the idea that Israel could possibly do anything wrong. So the fact they're saying Israeli terrorists is quite a story. So I'm thinking, maybe this is finally Israeli leadership and maybe American leadership sitting down and saying, you know what, guys, I think we've gone too far. I think, you know what, we've gone too far. Maybe we think we have, maybe we haven't, but the people are really upset. The world is really turning on us. We're losing the narrative. We're losing the optics wars. We got to dial this back, guys. I think we've gone too far. And maybe to a certain extent with the Israelis, it's like a lot of this stuff aren't even military operations. A lot of this is just Israelis just deciding they're going to go take land and go take houses and just steal property from people. And there's nobody there to stop them. And usually the IDF backs them up or they've got their own weapons. And the Palestinians have nothing. So they just get forced out at gunpoint by just random Israeli citizens. So maybe you could say the IDF is, maybe their hands are clean on some of these deals, including in the West Bank. So Huckabee, though, says that the IDF is going to go take care of it. That they have alerted the IDF of Israeli terrorists, and they're going to go take care of it. And now I'm sitting here saying, well, are they really going to take care of it, or is that just sending in the IDF to finish the job? Is the IDF really going to go in there and punish Israeli terrorists? Is the IDF really going to go in there and arrest and remove Israeli terrorists from Palestine? Or is this just the excuse to send the IDF into the West Bank so they can finish the job? What side of that bet are you taking? Kushner's going back to Israel, by the way. Thank goodness we needed more of that. Jared Kushner to visit Israel after Netanyahu rejects Gaza Board of Peace plan. Yeah, what a joke that all is. Another money grab. They just stole $20 billion from people and there's no peace. Now you see why they strategically left. Well, I guess Netanyahu didn't have to pay the bill, but I guess he's kind of in the club, so I don't know how that goes. Maybe that's why Netanyahu wouldn't pay the bill, because he was never going to be for peace. Stunning. So Trump tried to send his crews into Greenland because he thinks he owns it already. Greenland issues strong warning as Trump-linked oil firm prepares to drill. The island's government says no approval has been given after Greenland Energy brings kit ashore for exploratory drilling. So Trump is just trying to take Greenland now. He just thinks he can do whatever he wants now. Greenland forces Trump-linked U.S. oil firm to delay drilling. U.S. envoy had claimed Americans could be extracting crude by as early as next year. Greenland authorities have forced a U.S. oil company connected to Donald Trump to postpone drilling wells in the Arctic territory, defying claims by the U.S. president's envoy that Americans could be extracting crude by next year. Again, it's just crazy. Like, okay, we're going into Greenland and we're just going to act like whatever. We are just above the law over there. We can just conquer it, whatever. I don't even care. I'm not even trying to do like liberal buzzwords here, but I mean, what do you call this? I mean, colonizing, I don't know. It's like, I'm not trying to, but I mean, what do you call it when Trump just says, I'm just sending people into Greenland to take oil? No permission, no contracts, no agreements, no international accords. Just Trump just says, hey, I'm just going to, hey, guys, go take oil from Greenland. What do you call that? What do you call that? But it's hilarious. We can't get even basic things done on the domestic agenda. The American people can't get basics on the domestic agenda. And Trump's like, hey, just go drill in Greenland. No permission, no international accords, like nothing. Trump's just like, yeah, just no law, nothing. Just go drill in Greenland, no problem. But hey, can we get like voter integrity? Can we get like deep state arrest, mass deportation? Like any domestic agenda can't do it. Hey, can we go kidnap the president of Venezuela? You got it. Hey, let's just go drill for oil in Greenland. You got it. Hey, let's send a bunch of men and women over to fight a war in Iran. You got it. So anything that's not the domestic agenda, we're doing it. But I don't know. What do you even call that, guys? I mean, ego, it's beyond ego, beyond corruption. Like, who does Trump think he is here? It's crazy. Trump-linked oil venture delays Greenland drilling plans after government warning. Yeah, they just showed up. They said, we're going to drill. And Greenland was like, well, what the hell are you talking about? Imagine if somebody tried to do that here. They showed up, said, we're going to drill your oil. We'd be like, what? Oh, but we're going to do it to Greenland. Who's telling Trump to do this stuff? Honestly, it's crazy. He really thinks he's above all law. Guys, let's just be honest. Trump has lost his mind. Can you imagine if Biden was doing this? Just imagine if Biden was doing this. Just imagine. I'm telling you guys, Trump's lost his mind. Trump has just completely lost his mind. He's got a Messiah complex has taken over. Some sort of a massive ego trip has taken this man's mind over. This is why he's standing in front of the high school athletes at the high school athletic events, like it's all about him. This is why he's standing on the stage at the World Cup performance finals, making it all about him. This guy's ego is into the stratosphere. This guy truly believes he is like Jesus Christ on earth right now. And he just feels he can do, there's just nothing he can't do, no wrong he can do. You want to go drill in Greenland, no problem. Lie to the American people, no problem. Engage in public insider trading, no problem. It's just crazy, man. It's honestly just insane. Let's do this. I want to take a break from the phones. I want to take a break from the news and get to the phones. So let's open up some phone lines. We've got through the majority of the important news today. I've got other odds and ends. Just kind of other odds and ends, random stuff, random video clips. But we've gotten through the import for today. So we will have time to take some calls, as I was hoping we would. Guys, if the studio shuts down, just... I'm supposed to do an interview with Josie, the redheaded libertarian, later tonight, too. But we'll see what happens. You know, I gotta wonder. All right, it's a Friday afternoon. We're getting into the third hour here. We're about to take some calls. Let me just wipe it down here. We've covered the news. I got to wonder. So the AC is out again here. Okay. It's I don't even want to, just don't even, please. I can't tell you about the tech demons that follow me around my entire life. All right. I don't want to do it. Please. I don't want to do it. But I'm starting to wonder. Maybe is the universe sending me a message and just saying, go away, just go on vacation, just go visit, go home, go visit family. Is that what this is? Am I being smoked out of my own house here by the universe? Is that what is happening here? Trying to figure this out. What do you guys think? Does this mean I just need to leave, just get out of here? Or is it the opposite? Or is somebody trying to get me out of here and it means I need to stay? I don't know. Or maybe somebody's hacking my AC, shutting it down at 3 o'clock every day. Just for fun, just to mess with me. I don't know. Maybe I'm just going crazy. Got to consider that too. You know? Got to consider all things. All right, phone line is ready to go. 747-255-60. 747-255-60. And we will take calls. Anything is fair game today, I'd say. On a Friday, open lines, whatever it is you want to talk about, something we've covered on the show, something on your mind, whatever. Anything is fair game on a Friday. We'll play it like that. Remember, when I take your call, you are on the air. I just ask you your name and where you're from, but you are on the air. First caller of the show, what's your name? Where are you from?
Hey, Owen, it's Joe from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. How are you doing?
I'm good, Joe. What's up?
I just wanted to say that, I'm looking at Vance and I'm looking at Rubio, and I would never vote for these guys. I'm firmly never Vance, firmly never Rubio. I'm even firmly never Tucker, to be honest with you. I'm at that point where, I just see, Tucker's 10-point plan where, fairness is number one on the docket. And I'm like, that sounds a lot like amnesty. With JD Vance, I see, he's got, his wife and kids. I don't want to sound racist or anything, but they're Indian. So how can we expect him to? How can we trust that he's going to follow through on mass deportations when his wife and kids, they're not even American?
How old are you?
25. I'm going to be 26 at the end of the month.
How much do demographics or the racial makeup of candidates mean to you?
To be honest, I don't want to make it like a race thing, but you have all these enclaves, these racial enclaves, and you can't even deny them anymore. It's people aren't, they're not looking at it. They're not. It's just being ignored.
I asked this because, I'm trying to get into the mind of younger generational voters. And I think directionally, millennials, 30-year-olds and 20-year-olds, probably 40-year-olds too, on maybe the right or the center, see a lot of things in common. So, okay, you're concerned. You're feeling even perhaps tribal. You feel that, white people in this country do not get good representation. If anything, we're intentionally being destroyed, you could say.
I want an outsider. I want an outsider who's going to come in and fulfill the promises that, Trump in 16. I was watching you in 16, by the way. So, I want that outsider to come in, build a wall, get him the fuck out. That's what I want.
Here's an example. Here's an example. I'm just trying to get into the mind of 20-year-old voters here, because I think there's a lot of young men that feel the same way. There's a story here in Texas, Houston specifically, and Apple has broken ground. They're going to build this new manufacturing plant. There was a big digital media influence operation today to pump that into the news feed today to tell you how great Trump is. And then you'll see, though, when you look into it, there's also been a record number of H-1B requests the day that plant was made public. So they're all just bringing in foreign workers. So they put this plan out there. They say, look, Trump is bringing manufacturing back to America. It's America first. And then you look under the surface, and it's literally all H-1B workers. They're not even hiring American. And the plant isn't even built yet, too, mind you. So the point is, what I see is
go after. I want somebody that's going to go after the employers too. The people employing these illegals. The people who are hiring, undercutting Americans. I want them held accountable too. That's what young Americans want.
Do you think young white men feel like they need to be voting for white men?
We need groypers. We need nationalist groypers That's what white young men in America are going to vote for. We want groypers. We want nationalists.
But so why does, if J.D. Vance, let's just say, I know you said you wouldn't vote for J.D. Vance, but if J.D. Vance is the closest thing to a groyper, let's say, that you can vote for, you still wouldn't because he's married to an Indian woman?
Yeah, no. You can't trust them to fulfill it.
Interesting.
You can't trust them to deliver on the mass deportations when you know he couldn't even convert her. She's not a Christian as far as I know. So you know that matters. That definitely matters. You know you want somebody that's gonna you know be mindful of you know white people and be Christ first. You know and you know we need a president that's gonna reflect that. Yeah, J.D. Vance, that's not even his real name.
All right.
You can't trust them.
Interesting. I think there's a lot of young men that feel this way. I do. I don't know. I can't tell you percentages, but I think a lot of young men that are politically active and involved feel this way. I do. And hey, I mean, he says the word groyper. You know, that's why Nick Fuentes is popular. That right there is why he's popular. Say what you want about Nick or, you know, your different ideas or theories about him. That's why Nick is popular, because he taps into that. There's clearly a major young man phenomenon in this country that feels like they're not getting proper representation. Maybe it goes along racial guidelines, but you can definitely, you definitely sense it from young men. And I guess maybe some of that angst is the propaganda tells every other identity group to be tribal. Every other identity group is told to be tribal and think about your skin color, except whites. They're told to do the opposite, and they're told their skin color is bad. And so it's created this angst in young men that have been forced this propaganda their whole lives. And maybe at one point they thought Trump represented them. Certainly not anymore. Next caller, what's your name? Where are you from?
This is Rich from New Jersey.
All right, Rich, what's up?
How you doing, Owen? I think you're doing a great job. But I tell you, I am being completely honest with myself and honest with others, and just with this whole debacle that's going on in the world, our country right now. And this might sound crazy, but I think the election has become a psyop in and of itself. I really think the election is a complete joke. I think you have the free will, of course, to vote for who you want, though. But I think, I don't know, this sounds crazy, but I'm being honest. I've come to this realization. I just think whoever sits in that Oval Office, that title of POTUS, and now in this day and age, is just going to be, it's going to be a compromised, corrupt seat no matter who's there. And I will never vote again, because let me tell you, I didn't vote for Trump in 2016, and then I started listening to him, and I said, you know, he doesn't sound like a regular politician. Fast forward to 2020, we all know what happened there. And then I voted him, 2024. And he really had the nation behind him. But let me tell you, when I knew, as we Italians say, he was a fugazi, he was a fake, as soon as he didn't want to come clean with the Epstein class, I'm sorry, I knew right then and there, this guy's not for real. Because if we can't hit corruption and punch it in the gut, our country will never, ever change from the foundation of what it was and what it was supposed to be from 1776. So I haven't given up hope in my life, in myself, in my family, my loved ones, and for myself and everything else. But there comes a point where hope and denial kind of cross each other. I haven't lost hope in life, but I can't be in denial of what is. So somewhere in between, in the in-between spaces of life, I do hope for a better world and a better government, but that's where I'm at. I just wanted to shoot that out to you and see what you thought.
I think the Epstein files was the breaking point for a lot of people. I do. I don't think it was a majority of people, but I think it was enough people to have a serious impact on the political discourse. The Epstein cover-up was it. That was after that, trust would never be restored. And at that moment, Trump was no longer the Trump that they thought they voted for. I think that was the breaking point for many people. And then as far as can any president have individual or independent agency when they get into the White House? That's another concern. And again, it's the same phenomenon with Trump. We thought that is what Trump would be. But now it looks like he's just operating for the foreign interest. It just looks like he's operating for the special interest. It looks like he's working for his friends, his family, big tech, big pharma, big agriculture, and Israel. And America just sits here and gets nothing, and all the big donors and the foreign lobby, they get everything they want. And so I guess, it's like, is that just how it is with every president? And then why is that? Can we get a president in there that will ever act in America's interests? I mean, if you're not asking these questions in the year 2026, you're just not paying attention or you're just in denial. But I do talk about that. Just because we're realists about politics, just because we're realists about corruption in politics and the absolute betrayal and disaster that this administration represents, that doesn't mean we don't enjoy life. It doesn't mean we don't love life, love the country, have hope for the future. If anything, it's the opposite. If anything, it shows that we care more. Honestly, that's what it shows. If people are complacent with what's happening in D.C., if people are going to be okay with what the Trump administration has done, they're the fools. They're the ones that must have no hope. They're the ones that have given up if they think this is as good as it can get. And hey, at least he's not a Democrat. Here's an example, and we'll take the final break, and we'll come back with your phone calls. Here's an example. This story was in the Gateway Pundit today. YouTube's children's host, Miss Rachel, now pushing reparations for slavery and Jim Crow. Now, most of this stuff gets overblown, but yes, they put this on the left-wing political platform, okay? And they always are trying to push this locally, and then sometimes in an election cycle, they push it nationally. It's very rarely equaled any success. But put that aside and you say, okay, this is why you can never side with liberals, or this is why you can never side with Democrats, reparations for slavery, and then you can get in like open borders and other stuff like that. But here's the problem. They'll come to me and they'll say, Owen, this is who you side with. I say, no, I'm not. Just because I agree with somebody on one issue doesn't mean I agree with them on every issue. They say, Owen, this is who you side with. Well, yeah, if Miss Rachel tells me that on a hot summer day, a glass of ice cold water is refreshing, then yeah, that means I agree with her. Does that mean I side with her on everything? Of course not. So they love to play this game of absolutism. Like if you agree with somebody on the left with one thing, that means you agree with everything. And oh my gosh, therefore you're a leftist. That's just how morons behave. But yeah, we're in politics, a lot of morons. But then there's this other idea. They say, this is who you're going to put in power. If you don't support Republicans, this is who you're going to put in power. And I say, well, wait a second. Why does this logic only go one way? Why is it that when we have these debates, let's say, in right-wing politics, right-wing political discourse, you have these debates, and for me, it's like, hey, I don't like what is going on with the Trump administration. I don't like being lied to. I don't like the no mass deportations. I don't like the deep state getting away with it. I don't like the lies about foreign policy. I don't like the new war. It's like I go down here. I'm an issues-based guy. I'm a results-based guy. I'm a facts-based guy. I'm a freedom-based guy, principled-based guy. If one party or the other is better at all these things, then maybe we'll go that way. But right now, they both suck. And they say, well, but if you don't support Trump, if you don't support Republicans, this is who you're putting in power. Look at them. This is who you're putting in power. Well, I'm like, well, the Republicans aren't much better, but why does this logic only go both ways? Why doesn't this logic ever get applied the other way? Why isn't it, hey, if you keep supporting foreign interests over American interests, you're going to put Democrats in power. If you don't do mass deportations, you're going to put Democrats in power. If you keep lying to Americans about the economy, you're going to put Democrats in power. And by the way, that's actually the reality. The reality is that people like me aren't putting Democrats in power because we're principled. The reality is Donald Trump and neocons put Democrats in power because they just can't help themselves but kill more people in the Middle East. They just can't help it. For whatever reason, you break your back to put Republicans in power, and they finally get everything they need, the House, the Senate, the White House, the Supreme Court, everything they need for their agenda. And you put them in power, and instead they turn around and they go work for the special interests, and they go work for the foreign interests. And the only things getting accomplished by this administration is turning the United States into an AI surveillance state data center and having another war in the Middle East for Israel's interests. That's what puts Democrats in power. And you guys sit here and you point the finger at me and you say, you need to support Republicans no matter what, or you'll put Democrats in power. Hey, how about we try flipping that logic once? Actually, we already did. That's what put Trump in, and then they all lied to us. Why does this logic only go both ways? No, it's time for us to put our foot down here. It's time for us to put our foot down here and say, no more are you going to bully us into this. No more are you going to sit here and say, if you don't do this, you're going to put Democrats in power. No, you guys put Democrats in power because you never deliver for the American people. You guys put Democrats in power because you always put foreign interest and special interest first. You guys are going to put Democrats in power because you're lying about the golden age, you're lying about the Middle East, you're lying about everything, and now Trump looks like a totally corrupt president, and all of you look like frauds and phonies and hypocrites because you won't call him out on the exact things you'd call Joe Biden out on. You guys are the ones that put Democrats in power, not us.
You're listening to the Owen Report on the Win Network.
Back to the show with your favorite talk show host, Tits McGee.
We lost that second camera. But the first is back up. Playing through it. We're going to play through it today as long as we can. I'll probably still do the interview with Josie later, too. See if we can get something. I don't know. We're not going to have AC for another 4 days. We'll see what we end up doing. I'll keep you posted. All right, final hour here today of the Owen Report. We're taking calls. I do have some other ins and outs I want to get to, but let's just stick with the phone lines for now. We got some good momentum going with the callers today. So let's go back to the phone lines. All right, next caller, what's your name, where you're from?
Hey, what's up, Owen? How you doing today? This is Who Is Amazed in Los Angeles, California.
Hey, nice to have you. Thanks for calling in today. What's on your mind?
Yeah, thanks for taking the call. The first caller with the Groypers, I mean, that was actually a really good call. I feel like a lot of young guys in America don't identify with anything that's going on, and it's on a macro level too. Like you turn on Amazon, all the commercials are geared towards like Hispanic or Indian young teenagers. There's really very little white representation. I mean, it started with the movies, but now it's full-fledged in society where it's not want to say it's hard to be a white male, but it's like almost you kind of almost feel out of place, whether it's from actual jobs to even socializing with people in public. Just cold approaching women as a white man. And I feel so stupid to say as a white man, like we're so indoctrinated with racism these days, and people are too scared to actually stand up and
Let me ask you as I
call it
did.
out.
Let me ask you as I did the other caller you were mentioning. How old are you?
I don't want to dox myself too much, but I'm almost
Just put me in the 20s, 30s, 40s.
30s. I'm in the 30s.
Okay.
So as a 30-year-old man, the dating pool is already cooked as it is. But when you introduce all these political ideologies and then identity politics, and then the micro levels like ICE, because it's Los Angeles, there's a lot of Latinas here, and it's hard to actually develop good conversations with people. And you also have to tiptoe around things as well. But what's funny though, Owen, is that before you couldn't talk about Trump really with people in California because it's like you're a MAGA guy, you're crazy in the head. And now it's completely flipped. So they're doing some pretty good propaganda moves with society. But you can see it. You can see it with your own eyes. And Mondami's cool and all. I just don't understand why he hasn't Americanized his name to like Dom or like Abe. Back when the politicians, because we all from a melting pot and immigrants came here, but they Americanized it. They put the Anglo twist on their names. Mondami represents that he has no interest in doing that or preserving American values. Just by him just kind of spitting in all of our faces.
Well, why do you bring Mamdani up? Do you bring Mamdani up because you feel that he's closer to representing you politically than a Republican?
That's a good question. Not necessarily. It's just what we're given. Which same thing with the whole two-party system. It's all uniparty. Why does it have to be Republican versus Democrat? Why can't somebody in society with a lot of money develop a uni party? You know what I mean? I'm sure we all have our opinions.
Would you support a third party if it was financially backed by Elon Musk?
I would, but I would do so because I still believe in the Bible, and I believe what's written in the Bible is eventually going to happen. And I do believe Elon Musk's brain chip does have a place in the future.
Oh, the brain chip is coming for sure. In fact, it's probably already here. I'm guessing there's already people walking around in brain chips. Maybe not among us, but somewhere in a lab or there's people with implants in their brain. Well, we already know that there are for other health issues, but I mean like actual brain chips to control technology or advance, certain abilities you have or to replace certain abilities you've lost. I think that stuff is already going on.
Yeah, transhumanism is definitely coming in society. They're already kind of pushing the trans agenda as it is with your bodily containers, but they're going to be pushing the transhumanism agenda. And I mean, we might even see Donald Trump being the guy who sets the precedent of how cool these things are, how reckless he's acting and all these assassination attempts. I mean, who's to say something may... I mean, obviously,
that wouldn't surprise me.
Getting shot in the ear.
That wouldn't surprise me. That's a pretty bold prediction, and yet that I don't think that would surprise too many people. The reason why I asked the Musk question is because I know there are a lot of people that don't trust Elon Musk, especially kind of in that wing of right-wing politics that don't trust Elon Musk, and yet it seems inevitable that the only political representation, the only chance we have, let's say at a third party that will actually represent us, it's probably going to have to be backed by Elon Musk. And so I wonder what's going to happen when both of these worlds collide. And let's say people can unify behind whatever comes out of this Joe Kent, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Thomas Massey, Tucker Carlson coalition building. Maybe some people come in from the left. But if it's backed by Musk, are purists going to say, maybe this group, maybe this coalition represents me more than anybody else, but I don't want to be involved with anything Musk backs. So I feel like that could be an inevitable thing in a couple of years here that we're asking ourselves.
Yeah, but that won't produce momentum. That'll die down. They already tried doing that with the Teslas and the liberals, or whatever you call them these days. They were like scratching things in the Teslas, and that kind of died down. It seems like there's always room for retribution in this space. So I'm sure Elon can do a few things to, sway the public opinion. It's all algorithms anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, look at his app. Look at his app. His app's supposed to be the free speech platform, but you really can't say certain things on that app. So
well, you know what?
Question...
My issue with X is different. I thank you for the call. I want to take other calls here. My issue with X is not necessarily the censorship, like the outright, there are things you can or can't say. I do think, anybody that uses X on a consistent basis, it's pretty easy to recognize the different patterns in the algorithms, the things you'll get punished for, the things you'll get rewarded for. Some of it's organic, some of it is cooked into the algorithm. Any regular user of X has figured this out. But I feel like it's not that there's things you can't say. You could argue it's worse than outright censorship. It's more like you'll get punished for things that you say, or if you drive content a certain direction, then they're gonna punish you with the algorithm. So it's really just like shadow banning is back more than anything. And unless you're hyper aware of it and how the algorithm feeds content into the feed, it's so hard to beat it. I mean, I talk about it all the time. I don't know what goes on. I just crunch the numbers again, and I know other people are paying attention. For whatever reason, they will not let my X account go over 473,000. I've hit 474 like 30 different times, and then 24 hours later, they always make sure it goes back down. And you can go look at the analytics and see followers gained, followers lost. I've gained tens of thousands of followers in this period of time, and the number won't go above 473. So I don't know what that is. I don't like complaining about the social media stuff anymore. It's kind of old hat. Everybody knows what's going on, so I don't talk about it. But that's kind of my issue with X. It's like, it's not outright censorship or you can't say things. It's that clearly they have an algorithm that they're trying to drive a result in, and they will punish certain things and they will reward other things. And that's why the thing is so screwed up. To me, that's why it's so screwed up. It's not even the outright censorship. Some of that still happens, but it's just they're trying to get a result with the algorithm instead of just letting the algorithm be open and equal for everybody. Next caller, what's your name? Where you're from?
Oh, it's Natalie from North Dakota.
Hi, Natalie. I'm good. What's on your mind?
Oh, not much. Just the fact that I can actually hear you today versus last week from my iPad. Yeah, no, still getting cell reception up here. Very surprising considering what Canada is doing on our northern border. No one wants to talk about it, except for you and a few others. But also, I wanted to make a quick comment. It's also about who you follow back. I can guarantee you, if you followed me back on X, your account, it'll get to 500,000. Bet.
That's what you want to do with your call today, Natalie?
No, it's not. I just wanted to make that comment. No, I just, I noticed you were taking calls, and I figured I would try to get in there today, and I guess I made it through. So here I am.
I think you did better. You definitely, your second call was better than your first. But, you're still picking up the phone and calling, and you're not in a sprinting position. You're just kind of standing on the track. Kind of just, you're there, you're on the track. You were in the stands last time. You weren't even on the track with your first call. You were in the stands. Now you're on the track. You're on the track. You might even be in uniform, but you're kind of looking around, kicking your legs. Maybe there's like a pebble on the track that you're kind of kicking around. You're not in sprinting position. When you call in, you got to be in sprinting position. You got to be down there waiting for the gun. And as soon as I bring you on, and you got to go. That's the deal. So it's nice to have you on the track, but I think that was funny with the If I follow her, it'll break the algorithm for me. That's a pretty good one. That was a good pitch. I'll give her that one. But here I am. I got through. Natalie, come on. You're better than that, Natalie. You don't celebrate being there. You play the game. All right, let's go. Next caller. What's your name? Where you from?
Don from Orange County, Owen.
All right, how we doing, Don?
A lot better than that last caller, man. That was just not a tough act to follow. I just want to say one thing. I always kind of go down memory lane with you after watching you for the last 10 years or so, and the content you've covered, all the political stuff and everything. And you said you come from the sports world, but prior to that, it's at the point. It's not almost there, or maybe in a couple months. It's at the point right now where all the shit you're covering with the government, which is bullshit. It's just crap. It's a labyrinth, and it's like you're at the bottom of the rabbit hole in terms of as far down as legit as you can. You ain't gonna get. There's no more legitimacy with this, with the footage or anything anymore. You have to recognize that the people that are in control and ruling and owning this world, they're the ones that are using and having all these little governments and all these little world leaders. And it's a game to them. They're all game pieces. This shit you're covering, they're turning you into a tabloid news reporter. Football's coming up.
Oh, no. Don, don't get me started.
No, football's coming up. I want to see your skills in that. It's coming.
So
I want to see you just flex.
Let me. You know what, Don? Let me do this for you, Don. I like where you're going here. I like where you're going. So, and let me address something for my audience too. Let me just say this. There are things, I know I've said this before, but in case, you're kind of a regular listener, but maybe you miss some shows. The only place where I will give you everything is on this show. What I'm saying is, like, there's stuff I don't want to post. There's stuff I don't want to put in print on social media. There's stories, I want to keep some value here for the people that tune in every day that you're not going to get by following me on X or anywhere else. It's like this is the exclusive Owen Report. You can't get it anywhere else. And so this is kind of one of those times. I get this a lot on X. And I have briefly talked about this, but since you're bringing up the football angle, I want to tell you something I'm thinking about and get your opinion on it. But I told you that when I first went independent, Polymarket reached out to me. Polymarket had been reaching out to me for a long time. They'd been wanting to do business, but when I was with the network, I was always I didn't want to do anything that might hurt InfoWars or the network. When you're under a network like that and a brand like that, I'm a very loyal guy. I didn't want to do anything outside that could potentially hurt that or be negative, so I always just kept everything InfoWars centric. So when I finally went independent, they reached out, and they were always great to me, very nice. And we were able to get a deal done for a social media sponsorship, and it's been a great relationship. I really love the guys over there at Polymarket. I don't want to say too much about the different prediction market stuff out there, but if you know about it, you know why. There's Polymarket and there's some other things. But what I'm thinking about doing, what I want to do is I'd love to do an actual segment on the show in prediction markets. So whether it's sports, whether it's politics, it's a little different than just a social media post. It's like, yeah, let's actually look at the prediction markets. And, people want to have conspiracy theories about it, and that's totally fine. I get that. When gambling is involved or big money is involved, obviously people are going to be skeptical. I am not so obviously there's going to be corruption. I don't think people are fair about the prediction markets, I have to tell you. I think that it has a bad, gambling kind of has a bad reputation, and so prediction markets kind of have that same thing. I don't like it. To me, prediction markets are like the stock market for any Joe Schmo. That's how I look at it. It's like anybody, if you can predict politics or sports or anything, weather, I mean, the thing is ridiculous. The stuff that's in prediction markets, you name it. How many leaves will fall off this tree today? You can find a way to bet on it. To me, it's just it's like if you want to get, some people try to get 10% in the stock market every day. Okay. Well, some people, maybe you can think you can get 10% in a prediction market every day. So I don't really like how it's like constantly under this attack. But I was thinking about doing a prediction market segment where we look at certain things because I'm on there. I'm in the prediction markets every day. Okay, I'm in the prediction markets every day. And it's like, why aren't we doing a segment where I'm talking about, hey, here's what I'm betting on the prediction markets today. Here's what I think is going to happen in the prediction markets today. So I'm trying to get a deal done to do that segment. There's a lot of different legal things that we're trying to figure out so that it's 100% above board. I'd love to do that for the football season. Do you think that's something that you would enjoy? Do you think the audience would enjoy that?
I can honestly say this based on what because I'm reading the comments right now as I'm talking, and I need to convey one thing to the audience. I'm not a dumbass. I know football is rigged. I know it's all fake and stuff. And what I'm trying to get at is the redundancy of covering this bullshit Trump administration and the crap that they're. We all know who's running stuff, okay, and to legitimize it anymore by even covering their stuff, it's like they're sitting back watching us and thinking, oh, we got them hook, line, and sinker. I'm saying, you know what? You like sports. It's at the point where football, as fake as it is more real than what Donald Trump's doing.
That's it. Diversify the content. But that's it exactly. I said it the other day. I think I said it with Eric the other day. I don't think the country's been more desperate for the return of football. It's like anything to get us off politics. Like, can I just stop hearing about Trump 24/7? Like, let me hear about a quarterback, Let me hear about some dramatic, NFL player committing a crime. Like, I can't do the Trump TV show every day. I'm so sick of this crap. Everybody's got to be sick of it. We're still going to cover the news. But, here's it one more time. This is already driving the audience crazy. I can already see it. I guess this is what I'm trying to convey. They have all of these shows. I watch it all day. I've got CNBC on right now. They have all these shows dedicated to helping their audience do well in the stock market. And I'm just sitting here saying, where is the show doing that for the prediction markets? Where is the show saying, okay, we won't talk about how you can make 10% a day in the stock market. We'll talk about maybe how you can make 10% a day in the prediction markets. And I just don't see it. I see a void there. Prediction markets are becoming more popular. I'm saying I can fill that void. I'm already in there. I'm already doing it every day. So I think it's good content. I think it's a good show. Whether or not you want to, gamble in prediction markets or put money in there or not is obviously your prerogative. But it's like they have whole networks dedicated to the stock market. Where is this for the prediction markets, which is way more diverse, way more fun, can bring in way more people. So that's what I'm trying to do. That's kind of my vision with that.
Yeah, I've been going through this is the dull, the lullaby phase of the summer where there ain't nothing good on sports, and it's at between the NBA championship and there's nothing till football. But for me, I'm old school. I grew up on Dick Butkus and Roman Gabriel, and we're talking George Blanda. Those are old. That's how I grew up with Gil Sayers, and so for me, like I watched the Broncos are my team. I watched John Elway. I watched Elway on Netflix the other night. Now, love him or hate him, I never really knew Elway until I watched that, and that just pumped me up even more. And I watched interviews how Elway, when they were interviewing him about what his thoughts were about Phillip Rivers coming in, such late notice, out of shape, and still throwing the ball. And they asked Elway, if he were to do it, how far do you think he would be able to throw it? And he said he'd still be able to chuck it 55 yards. And me being close to Elway's age, I'm like, that got to the core of me, man. That brought out the fight in me, So I'm sitting here. I got my workout in for the day. Sunday, I'm going to Summit Mount Baldy with my son, and a full backpack and everything. And so all I'm saying is the government crap. I mean, we all know. We all know this, man. Everyone knows what the hell's going on. So I mean, it's like I would love to see you flex the sports.
I love it. I love it. You know what? I'll tell you right now. You say you're a Broncos fan. I got the Broncos at, I think it was 70 cents over 7 wins. Broncos over 7 wins. I got in at 70 cents. It's now at 79 cents. So I'm already up. And this is what you do. This is just the fun stuff that we can do here. If people are sick of the politics, I think they are. Anything to just catch a break, just a relief from the nonstop corruption and Trump's show in D.C. All right, let's take another caller. Next call, where you're from.
Hey, Owen, it's Natalie from North Dakota again. My God.
Nope, no 2 calls in a single show. Nope, not doing that. Next caller, what's your name? Where you from?
Josh from Arcadia.
What's up, Josh?
What's going on, Owen?
How we doing?
How much are you charging for access to your Predicted? About $100 grand?
No, yeah, actually, no. Mine are $200 a month. We're gonna double the Trump price. And actually, no, we're gonna do $200,000 a month, and I'm gonna get one person to do it, and then I'm gonna shut the whole thing down, take the $200,000 and build a new studio and tell them to get bent. I'm gonna call it
hell yeah.
I'm gonna call it the Trump policy.
Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about, brother.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm gonna tell you one thing, and then I'm gonna screw you. We're calling it the Trump policy.
Hell yeah, that's about what he's doing, man. Screwed us all, duped us all.
Is that it?
What do you think about? What do you think about this third party, man? Because that's about the only. I'm not going to vote in the national elections unless we have a third party, something viable versus this uniparty shit.
I feel that the third party is inevitable. I think it's inevitable for 2028. I do. And you know what? I think that maybe they're considering the realistic chances they have, or maybe they're just going to say, it doesn't even matter. We have to do this. It doesn't even matter. We have to platform this idea. We have to platform this party. We have to platform these issues. Maybe we have a chance to win. Maybe we don't, but it has to be done. So that could end up being the decision. But I do think it's inevitable. I think a viable third party presidential candidate becomes relevant in 2028.
I mean, something's got to be better than this. Either you vote on this side, it's pro-Jew. You vote on this side, it's pro-Muslim. I mean, when is it going to be pro-American?
Exactly.
America first.
Exactly.
I don't want no part of this shit.
That's it. I mean, that's it right there. Everybody, exactly. Who's ready to tap into that? Trump did it. Trump did it and won 3 elections. Now he ended up, obviously going a different direction, but it's there, man. It's there. Thank you for the call. Next caller, what's your name? Where are you from?
Hey, what's up, Owen? This is Ivan from LA.
Hey, Ivan.
Yeah, I'm just 2 slop things today. I'll try to be quick. I just called to complain how effed up our traveling situation is in this country with flights.
Oh boy.
I'm traveling to San Antonio, so my flight, because I'm doing a connecting flight from LAX to Vegas and Vegas to San Antonio, it got delayed 3 times, and I might miss my connecting flight to San Antonio for tonight because I'm supposed to be arriving there at 10 o'clock tonight. But looking at things, I might end up not even being there until tomorrow morning.
See, you know what you've done now? You know what you've done? You've sabotaged me. You have unintentionally sabotaged me. Because I was saying my AC went out again, and I'm not going to be able to get it fixed until next week. And is this God trying to get me out? Is this God saying, just go take a break for a couple days? Just check out for a couple days. Just get away from it. Don't even think about it. Just get out of here for a couple days. Go visit family or something. And now you're reminding me that if I try to fly somewhere, I'm screwed. Now you're reminding me that if I try to fly somewhere, I'm going to be miserable. I'm going to hate it. I'm going to regret it immediately. So now I'm thinking, nope, I can't do it. And maybe it's not a good thing forcing me out either. Maybe it's a bad thing.
Yeah, and just I was surprised that I went through TSA for LAX pretty quickly, but these flights, bro. I hate flying. I'm a truck driver. I like, that's like the best thing, traveling the country in the truck. I don't really have that many delays except for weather-oriented stuff, but I hate flying for the same reason. Well, whatever, I'll enjoy the weekend, however. And to let you go, I know you've been wanting to do a 2010 list. Check out the Chain Gang of 1974. I think for a 2010 band, they're good.
Hold on, let me pull up their Wikipedia. Let me see what albums they came out with. I highly doubt they make the list, but I'll give it a. Now you're going to delay the list even further, so now people are going to be pissed at you. That's good, actually. They can blame you for everything now.
Yeah, I'll take the heat. I'll take the heat for you, no problem.
Let's
for
see
you, anything,
here.
no problem.
Let's see here.
The album.
Okay,
felt
yeah, they pretty much dropped. They pretty much dropped the majority. 4 of their 5 albums came out in the proper decade. Got a couple EPs before that. All right, we'll check them out.
Check out the 2017 one, Felt. I think the one before that was in I think Grand Theft Auto. One of their songs. I think Sleepwalker was one of their Grand Theft Auto used their song. But the album Felt, the one that came after, that one's really good. Every single song except for one. There's like 9 songs. All 8 that they have is really good. There's just probably one there that's kind of like, but I think the whole album's good. So I recommend everybody check it out.
We'll give it a listen. Thank you for the call. Next caller, what's your name? Where you from?
Owl Killer calling from Virginia.
Hey, Owl Killer, how are you?
Not bad. Hey, did you? I'm sure you were busy, and I'm sure you'll catch up on it. But did you see any of that Andrew Wilson, Candace Owens debate?
Yes, I saw most of it.
She looked pretty bad.
My analysis was that Andrew won the early rounds and Candace won the late rounds. If I can, present it like a boxing match. That's kind of how I saw it. I didn't really see any real distinct winner. It really just depends on whether you believe the official narrative or not. I didn't like the platform. I didn't like them sitting in chairs across from one another with, Patrick Bet-David was good. He did have a good role and kind of the outsiders there that were, putting clips. I thought that was good, but I didn't like the setup. It didn't feel like a debate. And I think that kind of took away from the striking nature that you normally get in a debate. So I don't know. I feel like there really wasn't much to write home about. I don't know if you could declare a winner one way or the other. One's going to say they won. One's going to say the other one. And then whoever you like more, you're probably going to say they won. So I don't know. I said I wasn't interested. I watched it because everybody was, and I was just doing yard work listening. But I don't really see it moving the needle much any direction, honestly.
Yeah. Well, I think from what I saw, like when he really pressed her on Erica Kirk having some involvement, but obviously I think only a fool believes the official story.
Well, here's the problem with that, and I understood where Candace was coming from, and I can understand people that don't, and I don't know if maybe Wilson understands this or not. The problem, Candace, here's all the issues everybody has. The problem Candace has is if she says certain things, she is way more open and liable to getting sued than anything Andrew Wilson can say, right? I mean, that's the difference, is that the risk factor of her saying things outright on a debate like that are way higher risk. So she has to really think about how she says things to avoid that. And, obviously she's been sued before. I don't know if Wilson has any history with that. But so that's something you really kind of learn through the process. And then it's like, the risks, where to go and try to mitigate these things. So that was kind of her issue. Here's Andrew's issue, because if you were watching any of these chat rooms, you'll see most of them were in Candace's favor, which I'm not surprised at. Andrew is kind of going up against it because if you're following the Charlie Kirk assassination story, whatever side of it, the reason you're following it is probably because you don't trust the official narrative, right? I mean, if you trust the official narrative, you're not really interested in the drama of the court case. If you trust the official narrative, you're not really interested in following every different debate, every different news story. So you're not following this. You're not watching the debate. You don't care. You believe the official narrative. So Andrew is already kind of against it because anybody that's watching the debate probably doesn't believe the official narrative. And obviously the story has a bunch of national interest, but the reason why it has the national interest is because people don't believe the official narrative. So Andrew is kind of in the position of underdog or having to lift the most weight because the reason people are tuning in is because they don't believe the official narrative. But then the problem Candace has is she's basically being asked to prove things that she couldn't possibly prove. And, that's a tough position to be in. And I feel like there were a couple moments where Candace could have probably communicated her point better. And she had all the opportunity to, and it never really got out the way I think that she could have. But again, I just feel like nobody really wins. It's just either you believe the official narrative or you don't. And
well, here's the thing. So one thing, so Andrew Wilson is he'll even argue positions he doesn't agree with, just for like the sport of debating, if that makes sense. Like he's able
I agree
to take on,
for sure. Yeah.
Yes. So, but one thing he said made a lot of sense prior to the debate was the fact that Tyler Robinson's lawyers acknowledged that he was there in court. And the other thing is they haven't tried to use any of the theories that have been presented, whether they're like out on the whim conspiracy theories or not. Like that is something a defense normally, unless you're saying the defense is on the take too, which is possible. It is certainly possible that this is a hand-picked defense. He's a patsy, and
well, she's on the take. She's definitely on the take at the buffet. Excuse me, I had to.
Yeah, for sure. Now, one other thing that I wanted to hit on. So you were talking about a third party. I think I like the concept of it, but I think it's not practical in the sense that what we thought we had with the Republican Party, the DSA is doing to the Democrat Party, but a third party is not going to have the infrastructure and it's not going to be able to govern. It's like you're gonna be in a dark house without a flashlight.
But don't you feel like that's kind of what we want? Like I kind of want somebody to get in there and just stop it and just stop.
Well, yeah, I agree with that. But are the people ready for it? Because no matter what, there's going to be pains. Like people are gonna lose.
Yes.
A lot of the trough that people have been their entire lives, that they've been conditioned and think that they're entitled to getting. And unfortunately, nobody has the guts to just say, hey, look, we got to start over. We can't. I keep going back to it's the money, it's the monetary system. And I haven't seen anybody on our side. When that was one thing that bothered me about both Trump administration.
Well, it's kind of like a game of Jenga.
He just wants to take over the Federal Reserve and have them do what he said.
Exactly.
Rather than saying this thing doesn't work, we need to start over. And he just wants them to, because what you're seeing, you've been hitting on every day about the incredible, insane insider trading that everybody would be throwing a fit with if it was Biden, and the deals that the family members are all getting. And it's almost like this is Goodfellas, the bust out scene. This is Ramsey Outdoor in The Sopranos. Like he's like, I got to get mine before this thing goes down too.
Well, and that's already happening. But I feel like it's always just a game of Jenga now. It's like every president just wants to be able to pull the brick out and put it on top without the tower collapsing. It's like everybody knows eventually that tower is going to collapse. Everybody knows with each passing administration, the pull of the Jenga brick becomes more risky. And they're just hoping they're not the ones it collapses under. That seems to kind of be the financial policy of every administration. I'm going to do the Jenga trick, and hopefully it doesn't collapse on me. Next caller, what's your name? Where you from?
Hey, what's up, Owen? This is the Skunk Man from Arlington, Virginia.
Skunk Man?
Look, don't embarrass me again. We don't have to get into it again. I went into it a couple months ago.
All right, what's on your mind?
But that's not what I'm here for. Yeah, so I wanted to reference what one of the callers called in about the elections and why he's not going to vote again unless there is a third party, all that good stuff. If you look back at that interview where Trump crashed out and gorilla stomped the microphone after screaming at the reporter, he says, like within 30 seconds of that, I don't know the exact wording, but he says, look, there are no legit elections nowhere. There are zero legitimate elections. So every once in a while, Trump says the quiet part out loud. I just want to point that out. I think our elections have been screwed since before we were born. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm going.
I mean, isn't it hilarious that the biggest people on the political platform that talk about stolen elections are obviously Trump supporters? And I mean, look, I don't know what they did in Wisconsin, but I mean, that's about as blatant as a steal that we've ever seen. I'm not going to bitch that they stole it from a socialist. All right. It's like, it seems to me that's the agreement MAGA has made here. It's like we're all kind of looking a side eye here at what just happened in Wisconsin. And we're like, they had no voter data, huh? It's like, oh, they had no voting data on 5 of the 9 USB sticks, huh? Oh, and then they got it and the socialists lost, huh? Okay. It's like, all right, we're cool with that, though. It's like, all right. That one's fine.
And that's that was the James Al Akif thing, right?
No, he went and did something else in Minnesota with Cam Higbee recently. That was a different video. No, I'm talking about the Milwaukee County USB sticks with the voting results on them. 5 of the 9 of them did not have any data.
Wow.
I mean, just like, and then when they got the data, so Hong was like 97% chance to win, and then when they got the data, Crowley won. So, you know, again, it's like, whatever. Everything's probably rigged. I'm not going to bitch if they steal it from a socialist, I guess, like everybody else. I guess that's kind of the quiet wink and a nod. It's like, yeah, we don't like stolen elections, but if you stole it from a socialist, I guess we'll let you do it.
Well, okay, and then my other point concerning the debate of a lifetime, greatest debate ever that happened today. I'm with you. I don't think it went anywhere. It didn't prove anything. I thought Patrick David, I thought he did a pretty good job. But the whole time I was just texting my Warhawk buddy and just trolling him and saying, look, Candace won, dude. Candace won. And he was like, wow, you're a socialist. You're going to be a Democrat now, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, come on, bro. That's where we are now.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Oh, yeah.
Actually.
Thanks for taking my call. I love you, brother.
Yeah, that is where we're at. Yes. MAGA are the new libtards. So they're projecting. It's exactly where we're at. All right. Next caller, what's your name? Where you're from?
Ed from Maryland.
All right, Ed, go ahead.
Wanted to talk about the infrastructure in the Key Bridge.
Yes. Why can't they get this rebuilt? Iran can rebuild bridges we bomb in 24 hours. Why can't we rebuild this bridge? What's going on?
It's a mess.
What are they saying? What is the local media saying? I mean, it makes the international news or the national news.
They're saying now that you quoted 2030, the completion date. It's actually 2031.
Oh, they've moved it back again.
Yes.
Ah.
They had a thing where there was something going on with it's not even the contractor. It's like the person that chooses the contractor. They swapped that person out, and so now they're basically back to square one. So I live very close to that, and when I look out across the water, you can see the 2 causeways still standing, and they've done squat. It's just very depressing that our country can't build a frickin' bridge.
That's crazy, man. Well, and you know what? In fairness, we've seen it happen in other states. Florida seems to have no problem repairing bridges after hurricanes. So I don't know what the hell is going on in Maryland.
I don't know. Obviously, corruption.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? And maybe it's just that. Maybe it's simple as that.
Probably. I don't think there's some kind of deep-seated conspiracy or anything. It's just, I mean, they do a committee and this, that, and then they basically it's a giant pile of money and a bunch of people have to go steal from it first, and then whatever's left, I guess that's the thing that they're going to use to supposedly do the thing that they're supposed to do, and then it just, I mean, who the heck knows when it's actually going to happen. So it's
crazy.
It's very sad. It used to take me 25 minutes to get to work, and now the majority of my afternoon is spent trying to just fight my way home.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal.
I live 4 miles. I live a little less than 4 miles from the bridge.
I can't even imagine how frustrating that is. We have to deal with construction here in Austin. I mean, everybody does, obviously. But we've got these ridiculous construction projects happening on the main thoroughfare here, Highway 35. And it's like, even though they can't really seem to get much done, it's like a trickle of progress. It's like, at least we still have the road, right? At least even when they have the #1 highway in Austin down to 1 lane, it's like, at least we still have a road. You guys don't even have a road. So at least we got that going for us. Crazy, man. Well, hey, you know what? We're fighting a war with Iran, guys, okay? So maybe you should just ease your expectations, okay? We got to fight this war. Next caller, what's your name, where you're from?
Hi, Owen. Captain Hugecock from Canada here. How you doing?
Okay, Captain, go ahead.
I'm glad to see you're looking so good here, dude. I have a serious question, if you don't mind. I'm wondering if you realistically see any way out of this situation. That the people that are in politics everywhere in the West don't actually represent us. And I think Trump, back in 2016, was our actual ruler's last attempt to put in a hero savior type figure to convince people to vote again, because I think voting was coming to an all-time low, even though for the longest time it barely cracked 50% of the population because, well, people just don't feel represented. And nobody agrees with all the fake made-up arguments and topics for which people put forward to us, like the tranny thing and the sports slops shit. So I'm just wondering if you actually see any realistic way out of this other than revolution, other than getting conquered from, say, the Great Whites from Antarctica or something.
I do. I actually do. And even though Trump is not what we thought he would be, or the results of the administration are not what they need to be, I do think it proved that there is a political avenue. I do think it proved that. Now, if you want to get into rigged elections, I guess maybe you toss that out. But the other, I said this before, and I've been sitting on a post about this for a while in my drafts, but I've said it on the show before. It was like there were 2 ways we could save this country. And one was a billionaire presidential candidate that couldn't be bought, had enough money to run his own campaign, and actually got in there and said the things that Americans are thinking and saying. And that was Trump, and he won 3 elections. The results aren't what we obviously voted for, but yet that showed it was possible. Now, maybe that was all by design to deceive us, as you say. But I think the other avenue that we haven't tried yet is there has to be a coalition of the left and the right. You know, call it dissident left, dissident right, center left, center right, however you want to put it. But there has to be some sort of a left-right coalition here that's willing to come to the table, find the things that they agree on, find the policies and the results that they want to commit to, and then, you know, kind of work through the rest of it. Hey, where is each side willing to make a compromise, sacrifice, you know, give up a cause, support a cause? And I think that might be what we're starting to see metastasize with this third party for 2028. So we haven't really tried that one yet. You know, as far as is there a way out of it? You know, that's a bit of a complex question. So much of our life in America is based purely off confidence. The dollar has almost no value. Now, what's strange is how much longer does cash even exist? So it's even faker now, really. You could argue that the currency is even faker now that there's not even an actual thing. It's just a card with numbers on it now. So the whole system is propped up by confidence. I mean, you could probably make a claim that we're already playing with fake money. Our entire system, our entire civilization is just playing with monopoly money. It's not even real money. So we're already kind of playing pretend. It's like the whole thing is kind of just pretend, really. So that just proves that, hey, we can live and be happy if we all have the same confidence and kind of agree on things. It's like, you know, we can all kind of exist, even a fake system. So that does actually give me a little hope. I will tell you. I do have hope. The question is, what is it going to take? Like you say, what is it going to take? And then what is the price it's going to pay? What are the price we'll have to pay to save this country politically? Because you know the rulers of this country, the owners of this country, they're not just going to give it up. They're not just going to give it up. So can we do it politically? That's the question. And it appears that the answer, at least for now, is not with Trump. Next caller, what's your name? Where you're from?
My name's Finn from the UK.
What's
How
up,
are you, brother?
What's up, Finn? Good.
I was just wondering, I was thinking on the recent, hearing the stories of the really long deployment on the aircraft carrier, and I was thinking, this could be some, kind of warfare experiment to see how far they can push their troops, type of thing. Maybe they're prepping for somewhat of a Cuba invasion as well. But I think that they're trying to push the limits of their troops to really see, how long, and how effective they can stay in combat for.
That is an interesting idea. I don't even think Trump cares that much about the troops. I literally think he's just throwing them out there and doesn't even think about them twice, honestly. But
I think it could be like a naval warfare study, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I could definitely see that. And now we're about to find out they're going to do the switcheroo. So I guess they've decided, okay, we've hit the breaking point, and they're going to try to do a switcheroo and pull the Lincoln out and put the Washington in. And then also, to me, that's them admitting, get ready, we're here for the long haul. To me, that's Trump. That's Trump basically admitting this is a long-term war, and we're going to be here for months, at least more months.
I also think the whole kind of bigger picture type thing with this war is also one of the wanted goals is to kind of choke the world of, an energy resource.
Yeah.
And just cause chaos in that way, because obviously America's not doing too well, and I think it kind of needs the rest of the earth to not do well as well, because it wants to stay on top. So I also definitely think America and most Western countries holding American debt.
You know what though? I think that goes both ways though. I think that goes both ways. I think there's a group out there, call them the globalists, that believe America has too much. I think there's a group out there intentionally trying to drag America down and say you guys have too much. Yeah. And this is when they try to third world the country, or they try to just, take our money and give it to the third world. So I think that street goes both ways.
Yeah, it definitely does. There's one other thing I wanted to say as well. I don't know if you've been tracking what's been going on in Europe, but what's happened in the UK within 24 hours, right? 2 trains have mysteriously derailed.
What country? In the UK?
In the UK, yeah. And then there's been a couple other trains that derailed in Europe just within the past week. In 1 day, 2 trains have derailed.
There's been a lot of that. There's been a lot of. There were like 3 of those in Spain alone.
Yeah. It's some proper weird shit. Like terrorist attacks gone up. All these weird just incidences are happening. Loads of wildfires as well. And you know what the bloody Israelis have been doing down in South America? Burning up land and houses and just buying it back for cheaper prices. I mean, the Israelis are pretty much colonizing South America.
It's crazy. It's crazy watching.
Argentina, they're like fighting back.
It's crazy watching what the Israeli Zionists and their coalition are doing right now. I mean, it is truly crazy.
They're doing it whilst they have the opportunity with this retard in the White House, really, and they're kind of taking it and running with it.
Or their own compromised agent at this point. I don't know.
Yeah. They've got the tapes, probably, definitely. Yeah. It's an interesting one, isn't it?
Oh, boy. You're telling me, brother. Thank you for the call from across the pond. Always great to hear from you, Finn. Glad you got in today. All right, we're about to come up to the end of the show. I do have some other odds and ends that I want to get to. I'll tell you what. We'll take one more caller, and then we'll close out the show with the odds and ends we have here. Final caller of today's show. What's your name? Where are you from?
Walker from Pennsylvania.
All right, Walker, go ahead.
I'll change topics here for you. I'll start with a question for you. Owen, if you could look out a window right now and see 60-pound hailstones raining down and crushing everything in sight, would you still know what year it is?
I think so.
Okay. Congratulations, Owen. You just testified why people at the end, right before Jesus returns, going through the 7th plague, will know the year that Jesus is at the doors. But, so that they'll have that physical evidence. Now, there's an article at revelation13.substack.com, top left corner. It walks you through the 6th plague and the 7th plague, just like we said. And walks you through all the verses Jesus talks about this, and says and shows you that Jesus never ever said no one would know the year he was at the doors or when he's coming back, but only the day or hour. So people can go to that article and find that out. So they'll have the physical evidence. But the interesting thing about the seventh plague, there's a reason Jesus comes back very soon after the hailstones, certainly well within a year. And so they can infer, once they see those hailstones, that Jesus will either be back their year, or their calendar year that year, or the next year. So they'll have the physical evidence they need at the end. But there's also the biblical evidence. Daniel 12 gives the prophecy of Jesus' return, and it gives the only 3 possible years for that to occur. We do not know which of the 3 it will be, but there will only be 3 possible years. And that is also at that website. Center video at the top. It goes through how Daniel 12 matches Daniel 9. Daniel 9 was the prophecy of Jesus' first appearance on the earth 2,000 years ago. It's same thing, starting point plus 2 numbers, and so there is multiple possibilities when Jesus would arrive, when he did 2,000 years ago in his ministry. And so that gives the exact pattern for how Daniel 12 is also calculated, starting point plus 2 numbers. And so that website goes through that. But at least I have to say thank you that you showed to the world how much of the world your podcast reaches, that people at the end will know when the year of Jesus' return. So,
well, we know this. The Zionists believe that they are about to manufacture the return, or in their eyes, the first appearance of the Messiah, according to their prophecy. And they say this out loud, by the way. This isn't like a conspiracy theory. They say this out loud. So, all right, that's going to be the final caller today. We'll let it lie. All right, what other odds and ends? Do I want to cover any of this? Is it time to sign off? Let's see here. I mean, I can give you an example of this absolute power grab that they have right now. This is, by the way, the father-in-law of the new Fed chair. Trump just appointed the new Fed chair here. This is the new Fed chair's father-in-law, Ron Lauder, father-in-law of Kevin Hassett, the new Fed chair, speaking to the World Jewish Congress.
We're in the fight of our lives, and this is how we're in the fight of our lives, and this is how we will fight back. First, we must use social media because that's what young people follow. And I must tell them that you must tell them the truth. Israel must finally get serious about public relations. If Israel can tell its amazing story to the world, then its enemies will, and they've done it now. We must expose every renegade teacher and their unions. We must expect moral courage from our political officials, not excuses. We must rebuild education around truth, not slogans and lies. We will have to reinvent how we teach the history of the Jewish people because it's not working. Too many young people have never heard of the Holocaust. The World Jewish Congress has produced some excellent films that explain what happened. We want to show them in classrooms everywhere in the United States. And any candidate running for a seat in this building, whether for Congress or Senate, whose platform includes anti-Semitism, we will target them as they target us. Accordingly, we will start a fund to help their opponents. We cannot passively sit by and let anti-Zionists determine our future. None of this will be easy. It will take time and effort from all of us. And Jews cannot fight this fight alone. Frankly, we shouldn't have to, because this is not a Jewish issue. It's a democratic issue. It's a moral issue. It's a human issue. Let us build a coalition so strong, so united, so determined that no extremist movement can fracture it.
And of course, the irony being that's the most extremist movement you ever heard in your life. Where does this entitlement come from? The World Jewish Congress just gets to run the whole world. The World Jewish Congress just gets to decide what American students study and what they don't. The World Jewish Congress gets to decide who gets elected and who doesn't. It's just, where does this entitlement come from? Is it taught? Is it a belief system? Is it a supremacist system? Where is this entitlement that the World Jewish Congress thinks it gets to run the whole world? Where is this entitlement that the World Jewish Congress thinks it gets to run U.S. politics? Oh, not enough people know about the Holocaust. Really? We need to indoctrinate students and Americans more. Where is this entitlement? And, you know, I'm telling you guys, this thing is really going to get it bad. It's going to get so bad. Because it's like you understand the interpretation now as the younger generations are starting to come of age, starting to get involved in politics, getting involved in political discourse and debate. Like, it's gone from, hey, the Jews deserve a nation state, Israel. So, okay, the Jews get representation. They get international agency. They get Israel. But now it's, no, we get the whole planet. So no. We don't just get Israel. We get everything. We get whatever we want. We get your Congress. We get your children. We get your blood. We get your treasure. By the way, we're taking all the land around us too. It's like, well, wait a second. We fought a war here. We basically based our entire foreign policy for years off of the results of this war and the things that happened during this war. And in the aftermath, we gave Jews international agency with the nation state of Israel. And now it's just like, oh, no, we get the whole planet. We get the whole world. And then you sit back and complain how you're only 1% of the population in a tiny country, and yet you're going for world domination, and it's never been more obvious. But you come at it from an entitled perspective, this entitlement perspective that you come at this from. And it's Kevin Warsh is his son, not Hassett, just to correct that record. It's just the interpretation here, the arrogance here, the entitlement here is unreal. And Americans are pissed. Americans, we got our own issues. We got our own things that we got to deal with. We got our own problems in the education system. And then we're going to have the World Jewish Congress come up and say, hey, we run your country. We're not getting enough from you. Well, how do you think the disenfranchised American is going to feel? How do you think the righteous indignation of Americans is going to respond to that? A foreign lobby, a foreign Congress saying, we run your country and we're entitled to it. What do you think they're going to say? They're going to stand up and they're going to say, fuck you. Who do you think you are to run our country? In fact, the United States of America has actually been here longer than Israel. Oh, don't say that. Israel's been here forever. God created it. God gave it to us. So God gave you Israel, the land, and then the world gave you Israel, the nation state. And then you guys live in every other country except Israel, and then you want to run every country. As their countries decline, as their way of life declines. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. It's a little too heavy for a Friday finale. Did you guys see the third world pop-up in Cueto, by the way? They got a third world pop-up on the beach in Cueto. I mean, look at this. Oh, my God. You want to know, here's what's so sad about it. And we're having this debate. Is it Morocco? Is it Spain? We all know what's going on. It's all, again, this is all for Israel. They want to control the shipping lanes. That's literally all it is. Let's just not even complicate it. It's a tale as old as time. It's the tale of Troy, honestly. Control the shipping lanes, control the seas. It's in the Epstein files. Israel wants control of everything. You gotta, at a certain point, you kind of just admire it, even. You applaud it. They do it. They go for it. They have the will. They find the way. They want to conquer the world. They're going for it. And they believe that that is their religious destiny. But aside from all of that argument, how can anybody sit here and say that this is better? How can anybody sit here and watch what the Moroccan invasion of Spain has done, backed by the international Zionists, backed by the neocons? They say this is Morocco, so that Israel can work out a deal with Morocco and control the shipping lanes. That's all it is. That's all it is. And they especially want to punish Spain as well, because Spain isn't a slave to Israel. Their politicians aren't. But it's like, aside from the political issues, they turned this beach that just weeks ago was a beautiful beach. Just weeks ago, a clean, beautiful beach that people could go to and enjoy their day. A nice, peaceful, beautiful day at the beach. And now they invade it with a bunch of Moroccan men, and it's a third world pop-up hellhole. How can anybody say that's better? How can anybody claim now that the beach and Quito is better under Moroccan flag than a Spanish flag? I mean, this is ridiculous. And all the neocons out there that love this, and then all the Trump supporters out here that are calling this out, it's amazing how you guys will never address the root cause of these issues. You claim to care about mass deportations. You don't complain when you don't get them. You claim to care about open borders and why they're happening, and then you never get to the source of it. And now here's Cueto, and you're all pretending like you care. It's already been turned into a third world hellhole, and all of a sudden nobody wants to talk about it anymore because the Trump administration wants to give it over to Morocco, who's working out deals with Israel to control the shipping lanes. Unbelievable. Here's an incredible clip. This is outside the Luigi Mangione trial. I guess he's got some fans. Somehow this lady has a press badge. He did plead guilty today. They're trying to drop the state charges and probably just have him in jail and then, not get a death penalty or something. But listen to this Luigi Mangione fan. This is incredible what she says here.
I'm here because Luigi has a surprise hearing in federal court. We're not really sure what's going on, but there have been murmurs of a possible plea deal.
And how do you feel about that possible plea deal?
I've always said I support Luigi whether or not he did it. So for me, I always knew this could be on the table. So I wouldn't really be fazed by one.
Now, I'm like, what? She supports Luigi whether he did or didn't do it. Whether he did or didn't do it. So either you support Luigi because you believe he's innocent, and so therefore you support him because you think he's being wrongfully charged and he's an innocent man. Okay. Oh, wait, you would also support him if he did do it, so you don't care. So you're saying you would support a killer, but yet you don't go into the details as of why. Why would you support a killer, a murderer? And so I'm just like, what is going on here? And guys, I think it's just true. And people kind of joke about this, and sometimes it gets real. What is it with these women and murderers and homicidal maniacs? What is it? There's something there. I mean, she's basically, what she's really saying is she supports him because he's a killer, is what it sounds like. That, I don't know how you can interpret this any other way. Because if you think he's innocent and you're supporting him because you think he's innocent, well, if he's found guilty or he admits he's guilty, well, then your support would go away. But she's saying, oh, no, if he's guilty, my support stays. So really, you're just saying I support him because he's a killer. I support the fact he did the killing, but you won't go into details. So maybe that's not what it is. What is it with these women falling for the murderer? What is it with the women falling for the homicidal maniac? What is that? Is that a natural thing? Maybe there's some natural things to it. There's like kind of like a protector, like attraction to the protector type of a thing, maybe. Or is there something happening in the media or like the movies or the TV shows that is making these women attracted to killers? What is that? I mean, to me, what she's saying is I support him because he killed a person. That's what it sounds like to me. Because if you support him because you think he's innocent, then it wouldn't go both ways. That's just weird. What a crazy world. But he has pleaded guilty. By the way, Byron Donalds did a speech last night. And he had his live stream on his channel. 10 viewers. 10. Now, look, obviously, Fishback does way better on social media. I don't think anybody can deny that. 10 viewers on a live stream is odd for somebody that's supposedly a leading candidate for governor. I don't even know what to think of that. Because to me, I just don't know if this really translates to anything. But at the same time, how is it that there can be so little interest for Donald? It's not even like well, look, Fishback has a national audience and he does well on social media, and so it's kind of an overrepresentation. It's like Byron Donalds is like not moving the needle at all, though. And he's still the favorite. That's just a weird one to me. That is just a weird one to me. I'm not on the ground in Florida. I know we have a lot of listeners that are, but that's just weird. You can't even get double digits on a live stream, and yet you're the favorite. Again, I know social media doesn't translate to election victories, but that is a weird one. Did you guys hear about this crazy lady that defaced the World War II memorial? Janine Pirro is on the case. I guess she's sticking around, by the way. Vandalizing our World War II memorial is a despicable attack on our sacred monument honoring the Americans who fought and died for our freedoms. These Americans include my father and grandfather. This morning, we are filing 2 felony charges: depredation against property of the United States and destruction of veterans' memorials in federal district court against Melissa L. Ferris, offenses that carry penalties up to 10 years in prison. She's now in custody. Now, I've got something to say about this. I've said this many times. I truly believe this. Nonviolent offenders should not be in jail. I actually don't think this woman should be in jail. Now, if you want to put her in a mental institution, perhaps that might be necessary. If you do think she needs to be put in a cage, I think a mental institution would make more sense. But here's why I say I don't think that we should put this lady in jail. Because, first of all, there's way too many nonviolent offenders. And really, it actually is quite a bit of a burden on the taxpayer. Maybe not, in the big scope of things, but it's true. The BOP takes a lot of money. And so what she did is obviously despicable. Don't get me wrong here. What I would like to see, I'd like to see the judge give her an option. You can either claim insanity and we're going to put you in a mental institution because clearly you're not well. If you're making this decision as an elderly lady, clearly you're not well. So we can institutionalize you. Or I would give her 10,000 hours of community service. 10,000. I would have this woman cleaning up DC on her hands and knees with a sponge, with a magic eraser, whatever. I would have this woman cleaning Washington, D.C. for the next 10 years. Every monument, she's there cleaning it. She should become like a D.C. legend. You go to Washington, D.C., you're going to clean her spit shining every single monument. I want her on her knees, cleaning gear in hand, 10 hours a day. That's what I want to see. And I want to make an example out of this. You're not doing anything. You send this woman to jail. I'm sorry. Make an example out of these people. If you catch one of these freaks, if you catch one of these scumbags defacing any memorial like this, obviously a war memorial, that's going to have a little more behind it there. I want them cleaning up Washington, D.C. every single freaking day. And if maybe you're from a different area and you want to transfer the case to that court and that district, then you're going to go, if you're from, let's say, Denver, you're out there cleaning up Denver every freaking day. Oh, you don't want to go to jail? Okay. 10,000 community service hours. Take your pick. Nonviolent offender, we don't think you're a threat to the public. We don't think you're a violent offender here. 10,000 hours community service. I want this woman cleaning every single monument. I want every single monument in D.C. cleaner than it's ever been. That's how we should punish these people. Make them clean up the downtown they're from every single day of their lives. That's just my idea. That's what I'd like to see. Just thinking outside of the box. All right, you got JFK talking about how Trump forces him to eat poisonous food. I don't want to get into that. Okay, we'll skip that. Let's get to our super chats before we sign off. Can't believe we're doing a long show today with no AC. This is what I do. It's what I do for the cause. Into the super chats we go, folks. Remember to give us a follow. Give us a subscribe on YouTube. And we read the super chats there every show, at the end of every show. No Clown World song. Give me back my shekels. I told you we're going to take a little time off the Clown World song. We're going to do a new intro here soon. But the Clown World, we played it every day for a couple months. Just take a break. It'll be back. It's all right. Don't worry. It'll come back. Ivan, you and now Candace Owens destroyed Andrew in a debate. It's best to know your stuff on a subject before challenging someone to a debate. Everyone was watching, huh? They stole the election in Wisconsin. That was obvious. Even MSNBC kind of admitted it without saying it openly. Yeah. The only time that I'm actually okay with them stealing it from a crazy socialist is, right, it's kind of like a wink and a nod, like, all right. They stole it from an outright radical, loony-eyed socialist. Like, all right. But really, the Republicans, they would have been much better off if she was on the ticket, honestly. The other guy might have a better chance of winning a governor's race than she did. But now he's coming out for data centers, so that could cost him. Crazy election cycle. Ebubax. Yesterday, BAE Systems, a U.S. arms dealer, got slapped with a $36 million export violation to China and other countries. I wonder how much they make back of that with insider trading. The vicious cycle. Shut up and stretch your meat. Are they in the 100K club? Fishback made a website. Plenty of Fishback. Co-create with me. Trump won't get off scot-free. This is year 2026. Well, we'll see what happens. I think the Democrats will come after him harder than ever if they win the House and Senate, though. I'm convinced Trump secretly hates the military. Anna. Well, you can't trust anything he says or does anymore, so. Brado Jocko. Cuba, China heavily tied to voting machines. Cuba? The whole Cuba thing is ridiculous to me, honestly. There's something with that. I don't know what it is. I have no idea why we're so interested in Cuba. Mark Vendy, the worst of both worlds is at least kind of funny. I don't know. What are you talking about? Venezuela and Cuba created our corrupt voting machines, still had ownership in 2020, funded and aided by China and Iran. Please research and report. You're talking about mostly conspiracy theory. The Trump administration released the documents about China, and then when they were asked point blank, did China or any foreign entity actually change or manipulate results, they said no. So I know what you're talking about. I've seen the claim. The claim's been around since 2020. Nobody has put any fruit to this claim. And the closest anybody's ever been would be the presentation of Trump, where they released the documents about China. And then when they were asked point blank, did they change any results or manipulate any results on election day? And the administration said no. So you might still believe that Cuba has some interference in our elections, but the administration is telling you they don't. I guarantee if I open a Trump apparel store, it will sell out the shirts and hats. Will trace Trump sucks. Support big tech, big pharma, Epstein list AI. Well, I guess you could go that direction, DZ. Sell the anti-Trump stuff now. That might work. Fishback, no AI data centers, no Flock, no Palantir. I think Donald supports all those things right now. 18 Dominion voting machine patents were owned by China's HSBC in 2020, with tech developed to steal elections by Venezuela, Cuba, with support from China and Iran, intel agencies, and corruption a major role as well. Well, look, if they had Iran doing any of that, bud, don't you think they'd tell us by now? They make up crap about Iran. So if they actually had something real, they'd probably tell us. By the way, wasn't the latest deal on the election, on the voting machines, there's like a Trump connection to that now. I'm pretty sure there's a Trump connection now to the voting machines. Voted for Fishback today. JM Dog Patriot. Thoughts on Dan's race against Randy Fine? Well, I don't know, man. That one is hard to read because I'm not in the district. So I don't know if Dan is getting any headway locally or not. I just don't know. Of course, Trump endorsed Randy Fine because they all work for the same foreign interests, which is unfortunate. And Dan doesn't work for the foreign interests, which is, why they're going to campaign against him so hard. Mark is the only non-Jewish Bible author. Ironic. Interesting. Ironic indeed. Captain Hart, ordinary Israeli citizen killed multiple Palestinians, including Americans, and not one has been charged or arrested in a decade. Yes, well, they are above the law, and I guess essentially they own our country. So what do you expect? DHG, I think they are using those Israeli terrorist attacks to make it look like Israel holds its people accountable and to make the IDF look righteous by willing to stomp out terrorists on both sides. I agree. I do agree. And I think that they've realized they've gone too far. But the question is the IDF in there to actually stop the Israeli terrorists, or is that their excuse for the IDF to go into the West Bank and actually finish the job? I think that's, but we'll wait and see. I'm starting to think that's the case, though. Because, you know, the Israelis violated what Trump said. Trump said zero tolerance. They can't go into the West Bank. They immediately did. But they're saying, oh, it's not us. It's just some random Israelis that are going in there. It's not us. It's not official government action. But then they didn't do anything about it. But now they have the excuse to take the IDF in there. They're probably just going to take it, honestly. If you were going to bet, is the IDF going to go in there and remove and punish the Israeli terrorists, or the IDF going to go in there with that as the excuse to conquer the land? Which one would you bet on? I mean, it's kind of obvious, isn't it? Wouldn't you bet on they're taking it? I mean, that's what they do every other time. They don't even punish their soldiers for raping people. Trump, worst president we've had since Trump. Oh, boy. Don't tell him that. Jesus said the eye is the window to the soul, and your phone reads your mind via your eyes. Thoughts materialize in your eyes. Eyes grow from the brain. Mark Mendy. Happy Friday, Owen. Great week of shows. Thank you, Anna. Artificial war, a.k.a. sports ball, is great for the male soul. Why kill people? I agree. It's a necessary thing. Simulated combat without actually killing each other. And it has, you know, supposed to be fought with honor, sportsmanship, integrity. Trump was always an egomaniac. He got blinded by the light. Hug Savage. Yeah. But it's gone from egomaniac to something completely different now, guys. It's like Messiah complex, but I don't know, man. This is unlike anything I've ever seen. The guy is like, he really thinks he's God. I don't know how, it's like Trump actually thinks he's God. And he thinks he's invincible. And he thinks he can just do and say whatever he wants without repercussions. And that's how you set yourself up for a big fall. Big fall. You know what they say about pride. Boomer the Groundhog must be in your new studio. Boomer will be. Boomer the Groundhog will be in the new studio. Ron DeSantis rebuilt bridges 3 days after hurricane. Yeah, it's proof it can be done, but for whatever reason, they just can't figure it out. Maybe it's Democrats. Maybe it's liberals. Maybe it's corruption. Maybe it's all the above. The Farm Girl. Am I retarded, or can we not set up local voter ID systems based on driver's licenses? Live tally updates on election day. You can see how your vote was cast. Congress is worthless. We should bypass them. No, I think it's perfectly rational what you've proposed. I don't know. I can't remember. I mean, I feel like you can register to vote when you get your license. I feel like that can be part of the process of getting your license. I don't know. I've always been registered to vote. I was registered to vote in Missouri. And then when I moved to Texas, I believe I registered at the DMV when I got my Texas license. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I had to do that. So I think that's already kind of a process. Honestly, here's what am I retarded, or is there really no problem here? Of all the different things, of all the different struggles I've had with the fucking government in my life, being able to vote is like the least of them. I can't remember ever having a problem voting or ever having a problem. Like I can't even, the process is so benign, I don't even remember it. The process is so struggleless, I don't even remember it. And now all I know is every 2 years they send me my voter ID. In Texas, it's just, I can go grab it, I guess. But it's just, it's a piece of paper. It's about that big. It has my name, my address, and that's it. And you show it at the booth, you go vote. I've never had any trouble voting at all. It's like, who's having trouble voting? Is it obnoxious to go to the DMV? Yeah, that's pretty obnoxious. I'll give you that. But as far as becoming eligible to vote, the process is so struggleless, I don't even remember it. And I agree. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that's my idea. Maybe you got it from me. Maybe you thought of it yourself. Why there isn't a live tally at the actual station. So when you plug in your ballot, you can see that the live tally updates the vote as you voted. That's transparency. They're all probably rigged. Oh, and it's all 5D chess. Trust the plan. The Epstein arrest and booming economy is happening any day now. Of course it is. We all know that's sarcasm. We know. You don't have to add it. Das Vault. Trying to get me in trouble, man. Trying to get me in trouble. Andrew Gibbs, 1980. Owen, AI believe the bankers ultimately have the biggest upper hand. With the United States being in such debt, the creditors get to dictate policy. Well, Netanyahu says Israel will be the AI dominant country in the world, is what he wants. And I guess it makes sense. All the, Americans that are in charge of these AI systems all seem to have loyalty to a foreign country or a tie to it somehow. Wooded Bagley, the 30-year-old caller from earlier who said he couldn't find a woman, this Luigi Mangione segment could be exactly the answer you're looking for. Ha! It's crazy out there, man. Absolutely crazy. Do you think they will eventually replace people like Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro with fake AI media people? What's the difference between a Mark Levin and an AI regurgitating propaganda? Well, I don't know about replace, but in addition to, yes, I would say it's probably already happening, actually, in some way, shape, or form. Thor Gundy. Crash Out is great for gaming. I use it before I jump on my game stream on X. I'll be falling over tired after drinking it. I'm ready to go. Hey, thank you for the Crash Out plug. Thor Gundy. Guys, try it out. I'm really proud of it. It's kind of my baby. I drink it every day before the show. Get yours today at crashout.energy. Appreciate that. I'm glad you enjoy the product. We'll check out your gaming stream, guys. Check out Thor Gundy. Even Alex couldn't sell the BB Ping and Chi-Com Venezuela, Cuban, Iran stolen 2020 election. Yeah, I just don't. I think people overcomplicate it. Are you of the belief if America fails, then the cause of freedom fails? Give us an album recommendation. I think that's part of the agenda, actually, yes. I think that's part of the globalist agenda that wants to have the world government. They can't do it if America exists. You cannot have a world government with America. You simply can't have it. And that's why they want to destroy the country, and that's why they want to destroy faith in an independent nation or the free market. Yes. That will be the argument. And of course, it's not a fair argument. It's not a legit argument because America failed by design. America was attacked and destroyed from within, and then they just pretend like that's what's happening. Oh, it failed because the free market failed. It failed because capitalism failed. It failed because freedom failed. And of course, that's all lies. America became the greatest country on earth and changed the world for the better by every single metric possible. And then it got occupied and corrupted and converted into something else. But absolutely, the globalists will make that claim when they go for the world government. Album recommendation. That's, I'm trying to think of something maybe you hadn't heard before, but I don't know what type of music you like. So, normally we do the movie recommendations. I think Backrooms was good. I think Obsession was good. If you're looking for a horror movie this weekend, Backrooms and Obsessions. I enjoyed both of those. Album. I don't know, bro. Maybe the latest from John Summit is great. It's a couple of years old now, still great. You can always listen to the latest from Volbeat. That's always great. If you've never listened to those. What caused your AC to go out? Living Wisdom. I don't know. I'm not a technician. But apparently there's some backup or whatever. I don't know. They came here, they fixed it, and now it's out again. So I don't know. They're coming back out Tuesday. So it's not fun. Can you please address the Dan Bilzerian, Nick Fuentes rift? Which side should we choose? My brain is fried, man. Plus to move. I don't think you don't have to choose a side on everything. People are going to disagree, debate, have their different issues, causes. Sometimes we overanalyze things. I don't understand. The one thing I don't understand is it's like, I understand when Nick maybe wants to go against the grain of some of his audience on like the Tyler Robinson case. And he says, it's not good to blame Israel for everything. It's like, okay, I got to get that. I don't understand when we get people that are closer to Nick as far as politics, policy, ideology are concerned, like a Dan Bilzerian. It's like now we're finally getting them on a ticket and somebody could go vote for him and then you don't want it. But I don't think it's a sides thing. I don't know. Politics is weird. There's always infighting, left, right, right. My way's better. Your way's better. I mean, it's always, I don't like to get into it. I get along with everybody. And Nick can think and say whatever he wants, just like Dan. I don't think it needs to be some big national issue. It's just political commentary. It's just, that's what happens in political discourse and commentary. But people tend to put a little more into it, I think, than it deserves. I don't know. I guess that's what I would say on that. And I guess that's what we'll say as we head into the weekend. Now, I am supposed to be on with Josie, the redheaded libertarian, later tonight. 9 o'clock Central. Let's hope that is able to go off without a hitch. I don't know. The studio and house might be so hot by then, the whole place is melted down. So we'll see. But it's supposed to be there, supposed to be back with her later tonight. Otherwise, we're probably going to take a weekend. It's too bad. I was going to do some specials this weekend, too. I had a couple special clip shows I was going to do, but the house is going to be 100 degrees by the end of the day, so there's no way I'm going to do that. So stay in tune, guys. I'll let you know the story. I'll let you know the story for next week, but probably going to be off this weekend. So you should, too. Enjoy it. Hope the weather's nice. God bless. Godspeed.